Floor seats, crypto, I got my tool in. Fourth quarter yelling, why the fuck Batum in? She like if you really from the clan.
Hey, it's the fourth quarter. Why is Batum in? He should be in Cancun right now, Parlay Pete. What's going on?
He is in Cancun right now. You know those guys, they got the hell out of there. They were in Phoenix. They probably took that Southwest flight. But I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing about as well as the Philadelphia 76ers are doing because they've got so much rest because of a certain team from Atlanta. But I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm not too bad. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, though.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow, too.
Well, I'm joking. I get to unpack and possibly paint or pack up, or I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, but it's not fun.
I get to enjoy some LA sunshine, little breeze, a little business, maybe a little in and out.
You enjoy In and Out?
I do. I enjoy their burgers. Look, I'm one of the people that I'll go on record. I'm not a big fan of the fries either. The fries are trash. You got to get them animal style for sure if you're going to even enjoy them. But yeah, man, I love me some In and Out. I will say this because I had Whataburger recently at that Kennesaw location, and granted, father's from Texas. I go to Texas a lot. We do business there. I've had Whataburger, and I guess maybe I don't remember because I don't typically go there. But I did get it because it was getting so much hype and all this. And people always do say Whataburger's better. I will say this. They are certainly on the same level, in my opinion. But Whataburger it was good. The Whataburger I had here was good.
You know, I think we were having a conversation in a group. Yeah, we were. We're talking about quarterbacks. And I said a dime is worth more than a nickel.
Mm-hmm. Just because it is.
But it ain't much.
That's true. It ain't much, but it's double the worth too. So I mean, you know.
Yeah, it's double the worth.
Yeah.
What can you buy with a dime these days? Same thing you buy with a nickel.
That's true. It's not going to really make much of a difference. Put it this way: if you're short a nickel and you have a nickel, but you need a dime, typically the people will be like, "You're all right."
True.
It doesn't bother them that they're losing out on your 5 cents short.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's true. That's true.
Well, hey guys, I'm coming from the new stew, the new cave of man, my little humble abode that we're working through. New internet, so we should be good. Got the AT&T fiber now. It's not an ad, but you know what? That other stuff I had was not it. So we're happy to be here.
You know, I thought about, and maybe I still can, and I hate to talk about gifts on the air. I thought about getting you something where it's a picture of you, Low, Sin, and with it coming the quote, Lee's 3. How's that sound?
I like that.
It is. It would be good, right? And then, not to copy the anti-social social club thing, but on the back, it's like the Jerry, Lee's 3, but then it's like,
you know what? We might have something with that.
Maybe like the death row photo where it's like Tupac. I know it's like 4 of them on that, but it's basically something similar. But it's like you 3.
Yeah, I think we got something with that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that off air.
Yeah, I think it would be tough.
I love it.
How's the football season? And then it's like double correlation. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's some good stuff. That's why the marketing department brought you in to give us some great ideas. That's what you're here for, there, Parlay Pete. Well, amongst many other things.
Yeah.
How was your week? Anything spectacular happen?
We cooled down a little on the bets, but I still won a little. It just wasn't as significant as the weekend before. Not much. I mean, I went to the Hawks game. I went to game 3. That was Friday. We FaceTimed before.
You saw your.
I saw the greatest Falcon of all time. He was sitting 2 seats in front of me, and unfortunately, even though it didn't bother me, I didn't do it. But I was a little upset that I didn't even have the chance or the opportunity to actually maybe think about doing it because he never returned to his seats. But Yeah, he left like kind of like with like 4 minutes in the second quarter and never returned. And then it turned out the very next day on Instagram, they announced that their third child had came via a surrogate. So I have to think that maybe that could have been why he left potentially, because he was there with the ice cubes, and obviously she wasn't pregnant. So, and I knew that they said it was like a surrogate or something because she's got like health issues or whatever. Plus, he's rich and they can do that. But like that kind of explained it. But yeah, you know, I got to see my boy Ben. More shout outs to Cloud9 Smoke. Maybe we can get a sponsorship from them on here. Got to see my boy Ben. He was also sitting right there, like 3 rows in front. Him and Bruce Irvin. Shout outs to Bruce Irvin. Got to dap him up too, you know, meet him. But outside from that, man, it was a pretty chill weekend. Just eating good, drinking good, and watching some sports.
I mean, that sounds great. What did I do this weekend? Did a lot of moving. Painting. We were FaceTiming, I was painting. Ended up watching the Hawks game some. It was much better than the paint this past
This
Friday.
time around.
Yeah, absolutely. Saturday, the movers came and moved all the big stuff. We got the big stuff moved over here to the house. Did some unpacking, unboxing, moving stuff around. And then I went to Crew and watched the fight Saturday night, and unfortunately I missed the knockout because I was helping my wife out with something via our cameras at the house. So I missed the gut punch.
Right in the liver.
Right in the liver. You know what? I punch myself in the liver at times too.
Well, you're not the only one.
And I usually get up right away. You know, as soon as it's time for me to get up, I'm up. But you know, it was a pretty chill weekend. You know who's working this weekend though? No, Chris Greer and O'Goody.
I'm working too, if that counts. Kinda.
Well,
Not Saturday. I'll be working kind of Friday, you know.
I don't think you worked as hard as Chris Greer and O'Brien Gutekunst did because they got a deal done.
Well, they've got a shit ton that they need to get done tomorrow with what the work that they did do this weekend, or this past week, rather.
So Aaron Rodgers is a Jet. Finally, he has returned to New York. But the Jets and Packers, they agreed to a trade. The Jets received the number 15 pick and a 2023 fifth-round pick. The Packers get the 13th pick this year, a second, a sixth round, and a conditional pick in next year's draft. It can be a first if Aaron Rodgers takes 65% of the snaps. I saw the internet saying that the Jets got fleeced. I thought it was a pretty fair trade. I mean, Aaron had a down year last year, but he was the MVP 2 out of the last 3 seasons.
And he's a fourth MVP in totality. And
yeah,
you don't typically get those guys. Don't typically hit the market or become available, even at that age.
No. So I think both sides got what they wanted, and Danny Ainge has really ruined, you know, the way a lot of us view trades.
Why? Because he fleeced the fuck out of the Timberwolves
and Philly.
And yeah, but he really did a number on the Timberwolves. You realize they're fucked the next 2 seasons because of that. And I know we'll get to that a little bit later, but
you know,
I mean, this one was even greater than the other one. And no is going to come from it.
Yeah. I mean, if Danny Ainge calls, hang up the phone. But in the age of Danny Ainge, we're always looking for who won the trade, who lost the trade. You know what? Sometimes we just do good business. I give you what you want. You give me what you want. What I want. Maybe I pay a little too much. Maybe you pay a little too much. But if we walk away from the table with what we want, then how much sleep are we actually losing here?
None.
Out of 33 quarterbacks with 150 attempts, the Jets had the 3 worst rated, and they were a 7-10 team. They got an MVP throwing the ball now. That's 3 more. You just feel like that's 3 more wins, just his presence, right?
Yeah, alone. And that could be him playing, having the type of down year he had last year.
Yeah. You got more weapons. Did you see him coming into the facility today?
He looked healthy.
He looked young, healthy, like happy to be there. You know, he got his hair cut. He's not rocking that weird mullet-looking white trash, hippie, earthy shit.
Did he appear that he was glowing?
Low key, he could have been Prego. That's a joke. That's a joke. But no, like he had that glow going. That I guess that New York glow, that Dumbo glow. You know, like
that I'm happy glow.
That what?
That I'm happy glow.
Yeah, that I'm living in New York now, not Green Bay, Wisconsin glow. That Glorilla, maybe.
Hey, he can't wait for tomorrow too.
Hove did.
He's not fuck nigga free. He's Matt LaFleur free. He's tundra cold weather free.
It's bye Brian Gutekunst.
You know what's funny? I saw something. I'm thinking maybe it was Ball Sack Sports. Obviously not a real reputable, just a parody account essentially. But they had said that what was missed in the deal from Adam Schefter's reporting was that Aaron Rodgers will still maintain ownership of the Bears as a part of the deal. And you know, it gave me a nice chuckle. I'll say that.
It sucks we got the Jets on the road this year.
I'm going to that game though, and I know your ass can sneak out for one road game. Because we didn't get to do the San Francisco game 3 or 4, well, what will be 4 years ago in December, because my daughter was actually projected to be born that day, and then she was born like a week earlier. And of course, I mean, I can't just leave like that for that, but we need to do a game. That's one of the games. Before that was even a rumor that he could go there. I like New York. I'll be in New York this weekend. And so
I got the permission slip signed for Vegas for Super Bowl week.
Yeah, but that's in February. The Falcons are playing road games, and you know that they give me tickets.
True.
They give me tickets. They're free. All you got to do is get your flight. That's it. I'll handle the hotel. You know, if you want to do a turn and burn and we fly up Sunday morning and leave Sunday evening, that'll be on you. I mean, that's your call. But
I'm down with the turn and burn because
you're just gone for the day. You're like going to work almost in that respect.
We got something here. We got something.
And that's not West Coast. That's New York, Atlanta. That's a 2:15 flight, man. It's not a bad flight.
We've got something here.
There's multiple flights from New York to Atlanta every day. You could leave at 7 a.m. in the morning, and then the game's gonna end. I'm assuming it'll be a 1 o'clock game. That's my assumption. 1 o'clock game, 4 o'clock, get to LaGuardia or JFK. Probably takes you from Manhattan, Times Square, plus where they play in New Jersey, which is Manhattan. The Times Square is only 15 minutes from that part of New Jersey. It's like right there. It's not across the bridge.
We'd have to do a night in New York now. We can't just do it.
Well, then come up. We'll go up Saturday, and then we can leave Sunday evening.
Yeah, we can't do a turn and burn in New York.
You can leave Saturday at 4 p.m. Get there at 6. We check in, go somewhere nice, get some drinks, go to a cocktail den or something like that. Enjoy a cigar. You know, maybe a little party in Brooklyn. In BK, where it's like downstairs in somebody's sister's basement, but they're charging like $50 a head. It's some speakeasy with some artist that's going to blow up in 3 years that we've never heard of. That type of thing. And everybody's wearing, the chic shit, like all that.
I think we've got something here. Let's wait for that schedule to come out. But yeah.
We'll do that in about a month.
Yeah, we do.
Maybe less. They do that typically early May, mid-May.
Yeah, they'll wait for Yeah, they're gonna wait to shit on the NBA on a day that should matter, just to get eyes on the schedule release, like the gender reveal.
They'll get it regardless of what happens.
So, what do you think about the Jets as a contender for the division? Some would say they have the best quarterback in the division now.
I think we're overrating the offensive weapons that he has. I think that he's got solid weapons. Getting Lazard to be what is basically supposed to be wide receiver 2, adding that to what Garrett Wilson did do with 3 different quarterbacks should be good. But like, he still is gonna have to get in sync. They're gonna have to get in sync. Think about last year with Watson, right? Christian Watson. It took him like 9 weeks. The Dallas game specifically was kind of when we were like, man, Christian Watson's a player. They got in sync because he kept trying to feed it to I was about to say Dobbs.
Cobby.
Dobbs.
Well, yeah, Romeo Dobbs. Yeah, he was.
You kept trying to feed it to him, and it really wasn't working. And I think you sent him to Justice in fantasy, right? You sent him there. Yeah. Okay. And he fell off the map like immediately. Now, granted, he also gave you 2 backup running backs, but that's another story for another day. We don't have to get into fantasy football. But point being, it took him a minute to get adjusted to that. And I think that with him being his number 1 target and Breece Hall coming off an ACL injury, I think it's promising if everything falls in line. But at the end of the day, Hackett is Hackett, right? Like, I know that he has a good history with him, but at the end of the day, LaFleur was the one calling the plays. So we saw what Hackett does as a play caller. We got to see what he does as a play caller, and it wasn't pretty. So there's going to be growing pains. I don't like them to win a division. I like the Bills to win a division. I think they're a shoo-in to be a wild card team, but I don't like them to win that division. I still think the Bills are the class of the AFC. AFC East. Obviously, the Chiefs are the class of the AFC, but certainly the Bills aren't that far behind, and then the Bengals are still there too. But like in that division, I like them. And then if Tua can put together in a 17-game season, 14 games, I mean, why can't Miami win 11 games too?
So here's what I think. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the AFC East.
He's the most accomplished.
I still think he's a better quarterback than Josh Allen. I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers behind center than Josh Allen. There are just certain things that Josh Allen doesn't do for me, and we saw that regression this year without Brian Daboll. He's getting back to being a little Josh Allen-ish. Where the Bills concern me is they still don't have a reliable running game, and if Josh Allen is running for 700 yards again, he's due for a little injury. I am not going to be a hot take artist and say the Jets to win the AFC East. I've got to see their draft. I've got to see Aaron Rodgers this offseason. If we see Aaron Rodgers up in New York, we're flying everybody out to LA, and he's just throwing the ball around the yard like Brady did his first year in Tampa, I go, okay, we're cooking with something. Because him already knowing the scheme that Nate Hackett's going to put in, a lot of what makes Aaron Rodgers great is Aaron Rodgers is going to call his own play or make his own audibles and stuff. So I think he can step in the way of questionable play calling from Hackett. He's just got to build the chemistry with the guy so they see what he sees.
And that's all I was saying. They just have to build the chemistry. But I don't like them to win the division because of here's another 2 reasons outside of kind of what I just said about getting that continuity together and then knowing each other's timing. And then, like I said, the running game is going to be important too. Breece Hall can he just come back from an ACL? I know that it's easier to come back from ACLs these days, but he still has to do it. And so,
true.
And he was a rookie. I mean, there's going to be more people that find out like, oh, okay, this guy was kind of really explosive. We need to key in on this a little bit more. But these are my other 2 reasons. Let's look at it this way. If you look at Aaron Rodgers and his history, his best teams were teams that did not win their division. When he won the Super Bowl, he was a 6th seed. When they played us in the NFC Championship, there was another one of those teams that got hot. That was another time. When they played Seattle, they were the 2. They were the 2 that year, and that might have been one of his better ones. But When they went 15-1, they didn't do anything. And so I look at it this way. Wild card Rodgers is better than rested Rodgers, if that makes any sense. He's a guy that plays with the momentum. So I don't think that them winning the division would really be a big deal anyways in terms of Super Bowl contention. But winning that division, you can look at it just like you looked at Brady when he came to our division. They won the Super Bowl, and they were a wild card team. They were the 5 seed that year. And the established team, the Saints, the team that pretty much had been the best team in our division the last decade, they did what they did. They won the division. And so I think the Bills will continue doing that. And, they still got Miami to fend off. And as much as we know that the Patriots are the worst team in that division, that is still a Bill Belichick coach team that can beat you any week. So tough division. They should make it, though. I wouldn't be surprised if every team in that division made it, honestly.
I wouldn't be either. What does this say about Zach Wilson's career? You think Zach Wilson's career is over? Is he Josh Rosen?
He's going to get another shot to be somewhere. He can get the Baker Mayfield treatment, oddly enough. Even though Baker proved more, somebody will take a gander on him if they want to tank, a la what the Commanders are going to do kind of this year, to where they put him in just to set themselves up for the number 1 pick that next year.
Hey, speaking of the Commanders, not picking up Chase Young's fifth year option. I think that's a great idea. I think it's absolutely amazing. Chase Young has been hurt and overrated. Check his numbers. He hasn't had a 10 sack season in his 3 years as a pro, and he pretty much didn't play at all last year. Is there potential there? Yes. Do I think he rode the hype train created by the Bosa's coming out of Ohio State? Absolutely. Again, did he deserve to be a high draft pick based on who he was in college? His production and his measurables? Yes. But he's not been the disruptive pass rusher that the Bosa's are, So I wouldn't want to pay that price tag in year 5 for a guy who's coming off of injury. We get a full year to look at him. And if he's great, we'll just pay him this offseason. Maybe we pay a little bit more than we would on the 5th year option. Or if he's average, maybe we get him for a steal and he turns up next year because he's actually back from the injury and he's has his confidence back. So
how would you feel if Terry gave up a 3 and then a conditional 4 that could be a 2 next year to get him?
I think we're so desperate for pass rusher. I'm not.
This year 3 and a conditional 4 that could be turned into a 2 next year.
Don't we have 2 3s? We have 2 3s, right? 2 3s or 2 2s?
This year?
Yeah.
The Matt Ryan 3 was last year. We got that pick last year. We only got 1 3 from them. We made a deal with who?
I'm pulling it up right.
The deal was only a 2-2. It was a straight up 2.
We only have 1 3. If we give up one of our 4s in a conditional, I can get with that. A conditional 2.
I feel like they're even though they didn't pick up his option, that they still feel highly about him in a sense of we don't want to trade him unless we can get some really solid value. And I feel like that would a 3 and a conditional 4 that could turn to a 2 would like pique their interest, especially if they think he's a good enough player, but they also don't want to pay him and they don't want to win games this year because they want to get Caleb Williams to come home. Like, I don't know. I feel like they would take it.
Here's the thing. Jalen Ramsey went for a 3. I can't give up more for Jalen Ramsey than Chase.
I mean, we gave up a 5 for Okuda.
Yeah. We gave that's.
Which at that point, why not just give up the 3 and get Jalen?
I'm not sure Jalen wanted to come here.
If we could add a guy like that, I think that he certainly has proven that he can be a productive pass rusher. But they're right. Like you said it in our group earlier. They were right for not picking up his option. Why would you pick up his option? He hasn't basically done anything the last 2 years. So why pick it up?
Let me see. What would that option be? Chase Young.
I think 17.
17.5. No, I'm not paying you that. Get out of here. This is a hard cap league. No.
The Falcons paid Vic Beasley 14.
Well, and they didn't.
We didn't, but I'm just saying we picked up his option.
He had an all-pro season on his back. You kind of got to pick up the option.
And probably finished in the top 5 in DPOY.
Yeah, so you had to pick up the option just because he gave you an all-pro season, sack leader, all of that stuff. So Chase Young hasn't done that.
His best year, didn't he have like 13, I thought?
No, his best year is 9.5.
Really?
Yeah, he hasn't broke 10.
Well, this is how you know I don't watch Commanders football.
Excuse me. His best year was 7.5. He has 9 career sacks.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm not paying you. Get the fuck out of here.
I backtrack that. We'll give him a 4 that can conditionally. Next year's 4 that could turn into a 2. Matter of fact, if he reaches 10 sacks, I wouldn't even put it on the snap count. We got to do it now. He's got to have this type of production for that.
Yeah, bro. Like he's 7.5. I get it. He didn't play a full season, but 9 career sacks in 3 seasons. Nah, bro. I can't give you big money.
You were talking about the 4 that we're getting from the Jaguars. That's conditional. That turns into a 2. If Calvin Ridley resigns, if he signs an extension with the Jaguars, we get that 2. We'll have a 2 for him. So we would have 2 2s next year.
I don't want to give it to
him. I'd be down. I'm fair game on that type of deal. Or just give them R2. No, don't do that.
He's not worth it.
Give them that pick because the Jaguars are going to be good. They're going to be good.
We're not.
They're probably going to win that division.
Again, do you think we should draft Bijan?
The more and more I thought about it, if we can't move down, yeah, I actually do kind of like the idea of it. Only because Peter King, I watched Peter King on Good Morning Football.
I like
Peter King too, and he's a reputable person that I can remember always reading in Sports Illustrated when I was younger. Similar to how I've talked to you about my love for Bill Simmons back in the day. Like I used to love reading Bill Simmons stuff because it was just great. It was just great insight. I don't know, great mind. They're great writers. They're really good writers. And so with Peter King, he kind of did his mock, and essentially he said the Falcons might be the biggest like non-secret of the draft in terms of teams in the top 10 that wants to trade down. That if there's any team that would want to move up, the Falcons are open to doing it. And he said that he tried to work it to where maybe a deal would get done that they could move down, but he said none of them made sense to necessarily get a talent that was as good as Bijan. So he has us drafting them. And obviously, you look at Tyler Algier, what he did. To me, what he did last year is somewhat of a bonus because they didn't expect him to do that. He did do it. He's still dirt cheap. And you could set this thing up to where with Bijan, at least based on what Sark says, Sark believes that he can be running slot too. And like not just like occasionally.
I've heard you could be Christian McCaffrey.
That's what I'm saying. Not just like occasionally, but a legitimate, this guy's getting 6 catches a game and he's got 18 carries. I like the idea of that. I'm sorry. I love the idea that another serious weapon out there, if he gets 17 carries, 5 catches, or 18 carries, 4 catches, whatever a game, 20 to 23 touches a game, and you can still give Algier 13 or 14 carries a game, I actually kind of really like the fuck out of that. And then Cordero will still get maybe an occasional 3 or 4 carries and his 2 or 3 catches. I really do like that.
If he can become a 1,000 guy, I have no issue with us picking him that high. Unless Jalen Carter drops.
He's not going to drop.
I know. Pete's not having it.
Pete or Dan Campbell. I think they will both fucking take him.
Now, where it could get interesting is if somebody like CJ Stroud and he drops and he's sitting there at 8 and
I do it.
The CJ Stroud tankathon smear is has begun. And this is not to say that what's being said about him is not true, but he was talked about as having great pinpoint accuracy, making quick decisions, and putting the ball where it's supposed to go. Now all of a sudden he does poorly on a test, and that measures your ability to process information, and now he can't process. He's dropping down draft boards. Do I think those tests are important? Yes. But do I value what the film says over the test? Yes. Like, if the film is showing me that this guy processes well, I'm going to lean on that.
I'm going to lean on that more than that fucking test. And like how important is that test really in a sense of...
Let's think about this. The SAT, the ACT, test that we had to take to get into college.
Somebody might be a bad test taker.
Dog.
My scores were average as fuck.
Or how many people did you go to high school with or grow up with who didn't even go to college and they're doing really well for themselves because they found their niche and they're thriving? Like, I got some friends who are like running handyman businesses, roofing, fencing, and I go, mechanic. Like, what you do takes a lot of brain power. And you didn't have to spend the amount of money to get to get that knowledge as I did to get a degree that, I mean, it's a poli-sci degree, man. What job you doing with that?
Well, I know a lot of people with poli-sci's close to my life, and none of them use them. Literally, like none of them use them. And I agree. I agree. But I get what you're saying, just in terms of fuck a test. Like, this man, we've seen it for 2 years now, what this man can be. And, you know, if it, in a weird way, if it isn't for a bad game against Michigan, he might be the Heisman winner. Like, so this past year, he might have been the Heisman winner. If they go out there and they put a foot in them, yeah, he probably wins the Heisman and Caleb Williams doesn't. So I don't know. If he falls to 8, I love the idea of the Falcons drafting him, because I look at it this way. Ridder can have the keys. He's the starter, and they can continue to say that. And it can be one of those things where, well, if Ridder comes out and we're 6-3, look at Trey Lance, man. I mean, he's all up in rumors, and they gave up 2 firsts to move up to draft him, and he's all in rumors. And they're like, nah, man, we're going to go with the last pick of last year's draft. We like him a little bit more. And it'd be one of those things where, well, you got this guy that potentially is a trading chip for a team that did like him, that couldn't get to him, and you didn't have to give up anything to move up to get him. You can get him. And then even better, if what I think is going to potentially happen, if Desmond Ridder comes out and he seems to be the reason we're losing games and we're winning games in spite of him, make the switch. Like, so it's one of those things where if a team like San Francisco is willing to give up on a guy that they drafted 3rd 2 years ago that hasn't even really got to show himself, like, and they gave up all that capital and they're already ready to move on, why can't we do the same for a guy we drafted in the 3rd round, or we drafted in the 1st round, for a guy that we drafted in the 3rd round the year previously if he's better?
You know,
the Patriots had to move off of Bledsoe after giving him a $100 million contract too. He got a $100 million contract before that Tom Brady shit. And like, people don't realize that, but they had to move off of Drew Bledsoe.
And I almost went down the rabbit hole either. I don't know if it was today or yesterday in our group talking about the whole quarterback thing. Because, you know, your brother and I, we just don't see eye to eye on the Desmond Ridder thing. And
here.
And you know, I understand someone saying he's only had 4 games. What can you take from the 4 games? It's not the 4 games and the touchdowns, the interceptions. That's not what I care about. It's like this. I saw what Marcus Mariota was. You couldn't beat him out. Like, you could not beat this guy out. And when they finally gave you the job, this guy left, which says y'all didn't get along. And it's like, hold on, you're benching me for him? Oh, I'm hurt.
Yeah, he's trash as fuck, basically, is what he was kind of trying to say about him without
Right.
saying it.
And then you get out there and you watch him. You don't see any flashes. You know, even when you watch him at Cincinnati, you go, okay, this guy is Dak Prescott 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
If everything around him is good, he'll get the ball to the right place. We don't want him throwing the ball more than 40 yards ever in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go watch the product on the field and you go, okay, he's scrambling a lot, and our offensive line is not terrible. So you're not making you don't know what you're seeing. You don't know where you want to go based on what you see. Rookie, got it, nerves, got it, you know. But then you remember those couple deep balls, and it's like, hold on, we haven't thrown a deep ball all year, and we got a receiver wide open, and he just throws it 30 yards past him, 20 yards past him. You go, bro, who are you throwing the ball to?
Yeah, it didn't look good. And I don't want to chalk this up to him not being able to be a guy that can get better over one summer and spring. But, like, at the same time, like, that he played all 4 years at Cincinnati. He's supposed to be seasoned coming in. He's not Dwayne Haskins coming off of 11 or 12 starts as a redshirt sophomore. Like, that's not him. So I'm trying to figure out, like, Joe Burrow, right, sat for technically 3 years at Ohio State. Transfers to as a redshirt junior, I believe. Redshirt junior to LSU, plays 1 year, was meh. Some people were like 6th round pick, 5th round pick type grade. Then he comes out and he does get that much better. And you see the cockiness in the son of a bitch. Desmond Ridder seems like a glorified, like he seems like a backup to me. He seems like a backup that you might want to have, like that he can be a good backup in the NFL. And that's okay. Like, that's what type of guy I think he is. He says all the right things. I think that he can bleed in terms of like doing just all the intangibles, as everybody likes to say. He feels like that guy. He's not a guy that has ever really put it together on the field statistically, mechanically. There's been nothing that has screamed, man, this guy is talented as hell. No, he does everything else right, and he doesn't play bad enough to where you don't want to just like throw him to the side. But it's just like, man, this is the NFL. He's a backup. Like, please. I hope he proves me wrong too.
Same. And in the conversation we were having in the group, when I'm like, hey, when you take a guy in the 3rd round, he's not the guy. Well, what about Brady? Look here. When they drafted Brady, they didn't think he was the guy. Brady proved them wrong. When Pete Carroll drafted Russell Wilson, didn't think he was the guy. He proved them wrong. When Dallas brought in Dak Prescott, he came onto the roster as a 3rd string quarterback. They didn't think he was the guy. He proved them wrong. When Kirk Cousins got drafted the same year as Robert Griffin III, the owner didn't think he was the guy. Coaches did. But he eventually proved them. I don't know what he proved them because they wouldn't give him a contract. But point being is, when you see quarterbacks get drafted, especially in today's NFL, outside of the 1st round, but really after the 2nd round or not their first pick, you don't think they're the guy. Hell, Baltimore didn't think Lamar was the guy when they drafted him. He was their 3rd pick of that 1st round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they jumped back up to get him, but they drafted Hayden Hurst before they drafted him. Hayden Hurst is on his 3rd team since then. So, just when you draft a Desmond Ridder, he did not have the season. He does not have the draft status to walk in. It's like, hey, this is my team. Nah, bro. If CJ's sitting there at 8, we might have a quarterback battle. If Will Levis is sitting there at 8, we might have a quarterback battle. If AR-15 is sitting there at 8, we're going with Desmond Ridder. You know, if Malik Hooker falls to the 3rd round, You might be fighting for your job next season. You know, it's you're not safe because of where we drafted you, and you didn't do Dak Prescott year one. Like, oh shit, this is my team. Sorry, Tony Romo.
Exactly. You're not safe because of where we drafted you. You're not a first round pick. Hey, man, let me tell you, if Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch give Terry and Arthur and Rich, because we can't forget Rich in these situations, because he needs to hear about it too. I promise.
We're all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
I promise you that they run this stuff through Rich too. If those guys can pick up the phone and they say, hey, we got a guy we really, really like right there at the 2, and my intel tells me that you guys are going to draft him over Kyle Pitts if he had failed at 4. Let's chalk this thing up, man. 2 straight up for him. You don't listen. I listen, and I'm just like,
Come on, Kyle. You know us. Kyle, you know us.
I give him a listen.
Speaking of this, it's kind of reminded me. I may need your air mattress May 31st, if you're available, obviously.
Why wouldn't I be?
I don't know if you're not in town or something like that.
Hold on.
I think it's a Wednesday.
Yeah, you know, we talked about this. This is a Wednesday. I'll be in town on a Wednesday.
There's a I tell you that AMB's doing a career fair.
I know you were in town for. I thought your mentor maybe like.
No, that's some shit I found online, and I'm just gonna spend $50 and go and try to get my foot in the door.
What is it?
The sports group, they're throwing a career fair. Yeah, we did talk about this. Man, I got to stop drinking on the podcast.
I told you that. I know we talked about it.
Okay, yeah. So where do you think we go at 8?
I think Bijan right now kind of is the pick. We have to see how it plays out, man. It's weird because we don't know what's going to happen at 2. It's hard to concrete do it. But if things go, this is my personal thought. I see no way that Will Levis makes it at 4 to Indy. I just don't know how Indianapolis wouldn't take C.J. Stroud over Will Levis. I really don't. And so if things go that way to where C.J.'s gone and Bijan is sitting there, and just some of the things when I do think about how much better our offense could be if we add a guy who was the best running back in college football, who can be used in different purposes. I kind of do like what the pundits think. I do think that Bijan will be great, especially in our offense specifically. I think he would be great, and it gives Ritter another weapon, and it really does go out to where it's one of those things where if Ritter doesn't get it done this year, we're all in on a quarterback next offseason, whether that be in the draft or in free agency or via trade.
Well, think about this right here. You tried out Bijan and Cordero. Okay, upstairs, they see the personnel, but they don't know what the hell you're doing. Who's in the backfield? Who's in the slot?
Well, Ritter's in the shotgun, and they're both next to him, right? And
or emotions went out.
And you've got Pitts, Jonnu, and Drake London. Then Pitts motions to the left, and then he ups his leg, and then Cordero motions to the left. And now it's like, holy shit, I don't know where the fuck the ball is going. Like, I don't know if they're going to run it. And then Ritter, I'll say this, Ritter did appear to be a better runner than I expected him to be.
Same.
So you've got some wheels to where if that personnel is on the field and it's 2nd and 7, you don't know what – I mean, they could go. Who the fuck knows? Like, Ritter, it might be a quarterback draw or option or something to Bijan. I mean – or it could be a quick slant. I mean, we don't know. We don't know.
No, that's
the exciting part. And the thing is, I know that just like myself, you believe in Arthur Smith. We believe that Arthur Smith is the play caller that we need and want. And I think that if you add Bijan, it just makes the offense so much more lethal. Like your offense becomes so much more lethal. And then, but it really will be on Ritter's shoulders at that point. I'm sorry. They're going to give him every opportunity to not fail.
You know what? And if that's what we do, I'm okay with the season. We're still like a top 5 gambling favorite to land Lamar Jackson. You know what? Maybe he plays on that tag and he's sitting there available next season. And we didn't like what we saw with this.
And I guess the assumption is now that they've got Odell that he somehow finds his way back to signing that
like 32.
And he plays through, and the Ravens are, let's say they're in a similar situation they were this year. They go 11-6 or something, and maybe Cincinnati goes 11-6, and it's one of those things of, well, it's the tiebreaker. Maybe they won their division, maybe they didn't. They're either the 3 seed or the 5, and then, anything kind of can happen from there. Let's say they have a disappointing playoff, and they lose that first game to whoever that would be, maybe, I don't know, the Jets or something. And then he's available and he says, fuck you guys. I didn't even get hurt this year. We did all this. If I don't get exactly what I want from you, I'm taking less to go elsewhere. Because they will give me what it is you guys offer. And then we're right back in it. And then we don't have to give up any draft capital. And then no more from Falcon fans, people like Justice, where we don't know. We know now. We know exactly what we have at quarterback.
Well, he showed flashes. Let's be patient with him.
We went, hey, we've been going 7-10. We went 8-9 this year. No, Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot are in the hot seat. Because next year, if they don't make the playoffs, they're gone in reality.
And that's what I think is this doesn't exist in today's NBA, today's sports really anymore. People talk about the long-term build. You don't have a job if you do the long-term build. Someone else gets your job with all the great work that you've put in, and then you look terrible, but you came in, you had to clean up someone else's mess. You get that cleaned up, and then by the time you get it cleaned up and your players get in and they start to produce, you're now a head of player personnel somewhere, or you're sitting on your couch so you can keep getting your money.
Mm-hmm.
And you're out of a job, and it's like, oh, he couldn't hack it. Like, no, I showed up with an ass load of dead cap.
Mm-hmm. Well, in our situation, will look really good.
Yeah,
we're in such a better situation than what they took over, and it's unfortunate that we would have to use those guys to get to where we are. And Arthur, maybe who knows? Maybe Arthur gives them a second chance if. In fact, that type of scenario plays out, and we're 8-9 next year, 9-8. Let's say we go 9-8, but don't make the playoffs. You have a winning season. Desmond Ridder was average. He wasn't something you would hang your hat on, but also something to where that group of guys, the coaching staff and the front office could say, yeah, man, we're definitely not looking to upgrade at this position. Like, to where kind of what they're doing this year in a weird way, like, we're not trying to upgrade at that. Like, he's our guy. Well, that won't be the case even if we go 9-8 next year and he's under, like, average.
Somebody's got to go.
And then another thing that'll be looming in a situation like that is, well, now Kyle Pitts' extension's up. So are we going to – well, he's played now. He's here for 3 years. Now he's open for extension. What did he do this past season? How did Desmond Ridder play with him? Did he go for 790 and 5 touchdowns? Were they not for, like, did he not get that 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns that we were kind of looking for? What happens? Jonnu Smith, I'm going to assume maybe his contract will somewhat be getting ready to be up maybe, or you could definitely cut him maybe and there not be a ton of dead cap, like, and you save cap. Like, what do you do? Does Taylor Heineke come in at some point in the seat? Like these are all questions. And I like the way that they're doing a lot of he's doing bargain shopping. And I'll give Terry this. Terry does a hell of a job with the bargain shop. I like when I look up and I see Bud Dupree signs for a 1-year, $3 million contract. I like to see that. A guy that's had double-digit sacks. I do like to see that type of stuff. You know, and so
Calais Campbell, man. Calais Campbell choosing us over the Jets says a little something, doesn't it?
well, we were going to pay him more than anyone because his deal is like what, $8 million, 1 year, 8, and then I think the escalators on it could even like get it to like 10. And granted, he was still productive with Baltimore last year. Like he had 5.5 sacks. I think it was like 2 forced fumbles, and he only played like 60% of the snaps or something. So like he still is productive, but he's a rotation guy anyways at this point. So, and a leader in that locker room type guy. I mean, because we're a young team. It's him and Cordero that are going to be leading the charge.
So Jonnu's $6 million cap hit this year. Going to make 8.5. Next year, he's going to be $9 million on the cap. I'm sure they'll rework it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think this is going to be a year of reckoning, and what I hope the on-field product. I hope we get the most out of the on-field product that we can. Because again, I think Arthur Smith is the guy. I think Arthur Smith is the guy, and the roster has been pretty bad. We've been hamstrung by the cap, and now he finally has we have cap room, and maybe he can have a roster that he can get us 9 wins, get us 10 wins, because I don't want a new head coach who's going to start.
Win the division.
Yes.
This division is too winnable. It's too winnable. It was too winnable last year, and you were halfway through the season. You were in first place, and nobody expected you to be in first place. Our division was too winnable last year. If Taylor Heineke was our quarterback last year, we would have won the NFC South.
Yeah, and the sad thing is, games we lost. Did you walk away from those games being like, you know what, bad coaching day for Arthur?
Only one.
I know you didn't like to watch. Yeah, you didn't
I hated that play call. I didn't understand it, and it was the first time I questioned him. But outside of that, it was. I didn't even, that Steelers game was the day of my daughter's birthday, and we went to Sky Zone. So I was checking my phone, but I didn't watch any of that game. And granted, from my understanding, it was 65%, 70% Steelers fans too. So it was practically a road game. You lost by 3. You had a legitimate chance of winning it. It was one of those games where both teams kept settling for field goals, but that one touchdown for the Steelers ended up being the difference.
Yeah. And I mean, in the Chargers game was just like a Falcons Chargers.
The fumble, us recovering and fumbling again was the epitome of both of those both franchises over the last 15 years. It couldn't have played out any more like that.
Hey, so something
we
here
only
still
had one bad showing this year, and that was against Cincinnati.
You spent your money to go through this
all year. They were in every game that they played.
Did you go to that game, or were you about to go to that game and you just was like, nah? That was homecoming weekend.
Homecoming. It was the homecoming was the next day. I ended up not doing it because the flights were for me to go was fucked up. I was fucked up in there. I was still really pissed off about the thing. And it just was like, man, whatever. I'll have to miss this one. I wish I did go just because I've never been to Cincinnati. So that was like one of the bigger reasons.
Not missing much.
I wanted to be a part of that atmosphere though. Like it was just like, I mean, I don't want to compare it. Like when I went to Cleveland, like going to a Browns game, it was just interesting. Like I know I'm not missing much from a city perspective, but like
the atmosphere,
and be a part of it. It would have been interesting. Plus, the Bengals did go to the Super Bowl the year prior, so it was just it was one of those things. Joe Burrow, I get to see Burrow in person, like
Steph looks hurt
that day. If you remember, he threw for like almost 500 yards and like 4 touchdowns. They were humming that day.
They were. Miami is down 1, but if you look at the free throw disparity, Adam made a call and says, I want this thing to go 6 at least.
If Golden State wins, it's closed out. You're
talking
talking
about
about Steph being down.
I'm talking about both games. Steph is down, but then on the other screen I got Milwaukee and Miami. I really don't like to watch Giannis play basketball, but quick little college football tidbit here.
Ooh.
You follow any of that Coach Prime stuff?
I have. He looks like he caught something to the rib, maybe. But I have followed the Coach Prime stuff. Fun fact: Coach Prime throwing a football camp at Morehouse College on June 13th.
Really?
Yeah. Look, hold on. I can send it to you real quick.
Send it.
It's on the Morehouse football page. And somebody posted it, and I saw it.
What day is that? If you have your calendar up, and I can pull mine up and not be lazy.
I don't hear. I'm sending it to you now. The flyer, the IG flyer. Matter of fact, I'm gonna throw it in the locker room too.
Yeah, bro. It's a Tuesday,
and it's summertime. You know that he's getting ready for the season. For what it's worth, I'm just saying, like you know that motherfucker is getting them ready for the season. So like for him to be able to do it. But it also, when people were shitting on him about the HBCU shit, but the fact that he's going to throw a camp, plus for him, it's recruiting. He's going to get, I don't know what the ages are. Camps are open to any and all, only limited by age, grade level, or gender.
So women can't come?
I don't know. Maybe cis women can't come. I don't know. I really don't know what the rules are anymore. But point being, Prime is throwing one at the school. He's gonna be down the street, and so, hey, shout out to Prime, man. Shout out to Prime. But I did what they did. Shador, that whole thing. They sold out apparently, or something, or 40 something. There was a lot of people.
I'm talking about the 41 names that hit the transfer portal.
Yeah, and funny enough. The top wide receiver from the day hit it, which was weird. He had like 150-something yards and 2 touchdowns. But maybe they don't like the way he runs the ship, or maybe they were just like, man, fuck you. Like, I mean, I don't know, So I listened.
He had an interview on Pat McAfee today, and he talked about some stuff. And he's like, when have you ever seen a company come under new management and they just keep everybody? There's a reason why we need new management.
Elon just did it with Twitter.
Yeah, and they circle back to like because he's doing that documentary on Prime too. So it circles back to him talking about bringing in his Louis V luggage, and he said his goal is to get rid of all of you, and your goal should be to make me keep you. So creating that atmosphere of competition. And he talked in the McAfee interview about when he was in the running back room and asked, who can he get a ball to on 4th and 1? And nobody said anything. And he's just like, bruh, none of y'all think y'all can get the 1 yard? Like, I don't need you here. And then he talked about it in one-on-ones. He got Travis and one of his other receivers dogging the DBs, talking shit. And the other DBs ain't saying nothing. He's like, look, it's not about talking trash. It's just about like
take it personal.
Having that competitive pride and
this man is trying to take your job. He wants your job. Like he wants your job.
Damn your job. He wants your scholarship. He wants to take away your opportunity to further your education and eventually get a job, whether it's in the NFL or in corporate America.
He wants your chicken.
And you should take that personally.
Everybody.
And because you're not, I don't want you here. I don't want those. If
somebody's on my ass, bro, about my money, and like I know about it, and like it's direct as fuck, I can't let somebody compromise my living. I can't do that. And so like if I give a damn about anything, it's about what I'm afforded now and where I want to go. And I can't let another man walk in and just act like I'm not fucking here. Like that. No. Like it's just no. And I'm not mad at him. Get the guys off that 1-12 team out of there. Like, dude, you went 1-12 for a fucking reason. You know, now granted, it could be a top freshman from the state of Colorado. Maybe it was a 4-star that was like, man, I just want to be a Buff. I grew up watching them. I'm a fan. I grew up in Denver. You know, we used to go to Boulder all the time. I don't know. But like at the same time, you need to take pride in what you do. And certainly you got a guy. I'm not saying Prime's one of the best coaches, but Prime is still he's regarded as certainly one of the greatest corners of all time, if not the best. He's definitely one of the top three athletes of all time. This is a brother that literally within a 24-hour span had a fumble recovery and a stolen base on the same exact point in Fulton County Stadium. Nobody can say that. He scored a touchdown 6 different ways. This dude knows what he's talking about. He's got 2 Super Bowl rings. He's won with 2 of the most storied franchises, and he's an Atlanta legend. Like, I don't know what more you need to hear from him. He's commentated and done that already, and now he's doing the coaching aspect. So I would be supporting what he's saying to me because he's one of the best to do it.
And he's coaching because, selfishly, he got tired of seeing his kids being coached the wrong way. He's not like a lot of these institution coaches. He does not have to be here. He did not have to start into this profession. He doesn't have to coach at this level. There's a different level of care when the person doesn't have to be there. You know, like not a lot. You'll see coaches who are career coaches who were graduate assistants after they were tired of being a third stringer. They know nothing but ball. And their opportunities only exist in their coaching network.
Mm-hmm.
How much you want to bet Tom Brady comes and talks to the Colorado Buffs at some point this year?
I'm sure there's such a mutual respect to where that could happen. I'll give it a 30% chance, but I'm leaning towards it not happening as opposed to happening.
They're both
how much you want to bet Michael Vick talks to the team?
Nah, damn that. But hold on. But think about the Brady relationship, the Under Armour relationship that they have.
They're Under Armour?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not. Well, Colorado may not be Under Armour today. They may be Nike because of. But Prime is an Under Armour guy.
Mm-hmm.
Shador is on Brady's clothing line.
Is he? I see. These are things I don't know. So you're giving me other insights.
Yeah, Shador is on Brady's clothing line.
So is that his NIL?
That's one of them.
Okay.
And you know, like that really, really small table at the Hall of Fame that Deion's going to welcome Brady to when he gets there.
Well, he's already there in reality.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, when he officially gets his jacket and his bust.
Yeah. Oddly enough, Tom actually sits in a room by himself in reality.
True.
Accomplishment wise, he does.
Well, yeah.
Nobody in the room with
but
him.
amongst the best of the best, if Deion
There's
calls
25 guys in that room, and Prime's one, and so is Brady.
Yeah, so if when Prime calls Brady, the phone may not get answered, but the call gets returned.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's no ignoring.
Yeah, it's no like it's a text. Hey, hold on, I'm doing something. Let me hit you back.
You want to know who those 25 guys are?
Who you got?
They're guys that were the best at their position ever, the best coach, the best GM, and the best owner. Those are the 25 people in that room.
Yeah. And it hits a little bit different. So point being is Prime is cleaning house, and some of you guys are good enough, but you're not a culture fit. But hey, you are not James Franklin leaving Vanderbilt for Penn State. It wasn't like your coach left for an upgrade. It was like, hey man, we used to be a respected program around here. You got to go. So these smelly players that you brought in.
Yeah, and get rid of the stench.
So I like it. I like the culture shift. Really like what Prime is doing. I think that pretty much wraps up our football combo, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, that concludes the first hour here. We caught up a little bit, talked some ball, a little college ball, a little Coach Prime. We'll talk the rest of college ball like when college season starts because we don't monitor the transfer portal or high school recruits because we have jobs and a life.
Well, and more importantly, we've got more important things like the guys that are going out of college more so than the guys that are still there. You know,
we got NBA playoffs going on, man. It's just look here. We start getting paid to keep up with all this stuff. You got me. Until then, talk about what we want to talk about. All right, man. That's hour one. Parlay Pete.
AC Lee.
Hour two. We're gonna talk some hoops.
Yeah, I want to talk some hoops.
What the hell is that you're eating?
I've got great sour punch straws.
Takes me back to being a young kid going to high school games and taking my little dollar up to the concession stand and get me the sour punches.
I still love them. I love sour candy.
Same.
And I don't eat candy like that. But I bought some new drawers and some new socks off Amazon and some basic colored T-shirts and stuff. And then I saw some candy and I was like, you know what? I don't ever see grape in stores. Give me that purple stuff, baby. That's how I looked at it.
Got me a little pack of Jolly Ranchers in my pocket, the red pack.
Everybody likes a good candy.
I love it. Man, where do you want to start with the NBA? Memphis gets redemption and game 5.
Only because that's live. I guess we could do that. Like it just ended. But I even would much rather get into, because now we've got one series set in stone for the second round. Maybe those two series just to get into the preview of that one. Or we could close out. Or maybe we can close out that way.
No, because when we get into Memphis, we got some good stuff on that one. I don't want to be on that high. I want to ride that high into the culture hour. I think we're gonna have fun with culture hour this year.
Mm.
So round 2 matchup set. Suns, Nuggets. Suns in 6.
I'm having a hard time figuring out who I think is going to win, but I'll give you a difference in opinion, certainly, from what you're saying. I think it definitely goes 7.
Okay.
There's just no depth in Phoenix, man, and that's going to be an issue. They shouldn't have been struggling with the Clippers the way they did in games 3, 4, and 5. I know that 2 of them were on the road. Gentlemen sweep. I get it, but like they should not. Like yesterday, I put that sarcastic shit up. You know, I'm being a pompous asshole because I see ESPN says Clippers try to stave off elimination in close game, and it's an 18-point game, and it's the end of the third quarter, and then the shit's a fucking 2-point game with 2 minutes left. So, like, I don't know. I think that the depth is going to be an issue. They said that this will be the first team, if the Suns were to win the NBA Finals, to where throughout the playoffs so far at least, that over 90% of their points come from the stars. That does not translate to long-term success to me in the playoffs. Because even with LeBron and the Heat, like when I look at teams that were just star-driven, like completely, they even still had guys, and I'm talking on that first championship team, not when Ray was there. like because guys can throw Ray in as like a member right off the bench, but Shane Batty, like guys were still contributing off the bench, and Norris Cole, like guys like that would have occasional 14-point games. They're not really getting any production from their bench, man. Like Bismack Biyombo being your leading bench scorer. If I want to play the role of Magic Johnson and the Suns in the NBA Finals, he's like, they're asking us about that. We're not going to be there. They're not gonna make it very far playing that type of ball. They got lucky because, of course, they played the Clippers, and Kawhi basically was done after 2 games. There was never a PG. And granted, Russ played his ass off. I hope they give him an extension. I think that he's found potentially home. And if they don't give him the extension, please go to OKC and come off the bench. Like, I would love to see him.
They can only give him, like, right now at the stands, they can only give him $3.8 million.
Then he won't be back then. But he won't be back. I hope OKC looks to sign him. But I just think that's just such a dream fit. Go home. Don't add another team to your resume. Go home and like go with a young group, and then they can sign another guy. Like we've talked about this before. I don't want to get into the Thunder because they're irrelevant in the playoffs. But point man, I think it goes 7. I'm gonna lean Suns because I'm not gonna bet against Kevin Durant. But like, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Nuggets won the series. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. But I'll lean Suns in 7.
It wouldn't surprise me, and here's where I make my Suns case because they're not deep. DeAndre Ayton is a great matchup for Joker. He's that big, strong, athletic big who can just bother him. He's not going to stop Joker. Not going to. But he can bother him. Now you got Devin Booker versus Jamal Murray. Who wins? You're thinking too hard.
You would have to lean Book, but like playoff Jamal Murray's been different.
You seen playoff Book this year?
He's a better player. I mean, yeah, Book has had 2 really good games in this series. In the previous series, he had 2 good. He had one last night, and I think the game before that, like he played his ass. Like he had 2 40-point games. But like Murray had a 40 ball. And I think he had a 30 ball. Like it isn't like Murray's just that far behind him. And I think that, those guys have something personal with it. Because Jamal couldn't be a part of it. Was it last year? No.
Last year or the year before?
2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Jamal wasn't a part of it. And they swept him. Remember the 1, 2, 3, 4 guy that was in the stands. Mm-hmm. And so, like, Jokic remembers it was a testy series. He got ejected, I think, in game 4. And guys don't forget getting swept. Like, getting swept is as bad as it gets for an NBA team because all you can say is, we'll be back. Like, and we're going to, we're going to do something about it. I think Jordan got swept, obviously, by the Celtics. He never got past them in the playoffs. Though.
No, he didn't. He didn't get past the Celtics. No, he never got past.
But the Pistons might have swept them. The Pistons did, I think, sweep Jordan in them. And if they didn't sweep him, they beat him in 5. But point being, Jordan, that was something. Obviously, he knew it was a hump he needed to get over. And I'm not comparing Jordan to Jokic or anything, but I guess my point is that teams, when they're good teams, and like they're constantly always in these positions where now it's the second round, we're the 1 seed. We've been to 1 Western Conference Finals kind of with this core. What are we going to do if we can't win this game against this team where Kevin Durant's only played in, including the playoffs, maybe 15 or 16 games?
13 games. That's all he's played. 13 games.
So, like this is one of those series where they've got to do it, and I look at it to where they will definitely take it 7. Like I think it comes down to 1 game. It will come down to 1 game, and I'm gonna lean Suns just because Kevin Durant to me is the best player on the floor. And that's typically how we determine things in basketball. Who's got the best player on the floor? And best player on the floor does not necessarily mean the best player of the series. And we know that because if that was the case, LeBron James would have won a championship every single year. he's typically been the best player on the floor, but they doesn't mean you're going to win. But like when you're set up the way that they're set up, this is a win now move that they have made. And I think that they should be able to get past them, even though it's going to might be tougher than the Western Conference, even if it's LeBron he has to face or Steph or, well, I don't think it'll be the Kings, but if it's LeBron or Steph, I still think that like this will honestly be a tougher task. A, because they don't have home court, but then B, because of the desperation that Denver has, because Denver just looks like a team that's like Minnesota, but just better. They look like a better Minnesota in a sense of Jokic is significantly better. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're just like a better Minnesota.
This could be the year. This could be the year where Denver and Milwaukee teams with, top 2-3 players in the league, depends on who you ask, blow it up. Because if Denver doesn't get past the Suns, you can't keep running this back and forth.
Do you blow it up?
You got to make a move. You got to do something.
I don't think you blow it up because you keep Jokic, and then at that point you look at Murray and Porter because those are your two next highest guys. And I know that Murray, when's his deal going to be due? He signed his deal before the injury. So he sat for basically 2 of those years, and he might have signed a 4-year deal, so he'll have 2 years on his contract or something, maybe unless he signed a 5-year deal. Porter, if you get rid of one of them, you open yourself up to where we've seen kind of Murray without Porter, but we've never seen well, I guess in the regular season we kind of saw it, but like I don't know. What can you get for them though? Like what are you getting in return for one of those guys? Where can you send them to where you're getting something that is available? And I guess there's something.
Murray signed a 5-year, 158.
Is he a 2025 free agent or 2024?
I'm pulling it up right now. He won't be a free agent until 2025.
Okay. And
so here's the thing though. There's going to be a superstar who's going to be ready to leave their situation. Somebody's going to get upset. Jaylen Brown might not want to re-sign with Boston. Sign and trade. You don't know until the offseason hits. If Jaylen's walking and they know he's walking, he's in between this deal and that deal. He goes, I'll accept the sign and trade here, or I'll sign straight up here. I'm giving you the opportunity to make a move. So we can do the sign and trade. So you get something back for me.
I don't think the Hawks would make this type of move just because of what Trey did, low key.
Well, hold on, we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
I'm looking at potential.
No. Stay. We got to stay on Denver. Because we're not talking Jaylen Brown. I'm just giving an example of how Denver could think about doing something differently, because you cannot keep trotting out Jokic, Murray, Michael Porter Jr. if he's available. You can't, and Aaron, you can't keep walking this out here because it's not working. You can't get sent home in the second round again. You can't have only one Final Four appearance and say, you know what? We're going to keep the same core. And we're going to keep trying it the same way. Again, I'm not saying get rid of Jokic. I'm not saying get rid of Murray. I'm not saying get rid of Michael Porter Jr. Well, somebody got to go. Somebody has to go. If you don't make it to the finals this year, you're doing the fans a disservice.
No, I agree. There's a lot of heavy lifting that's got to go on over there in terms of for that team and what they need to accomplish. The expectations are sky high, and you're the 1 seed. And how often teams just don't get that 1 seed, you know? That isn't something you do every year. I mean, Utah, it felt like was doing it, but but they obviously blew that shit up too.
Yeah,
did you ever think Utah would go to the NBA Finals?
No, but I don't think Utah. I don't think Denver's going to the NBA Finals either.
They're so much better than them though, but they're set up more to do it. Like they're better than that team. Like so. I get what you're saying, and I'm with you. I believe that you do trade somebody similarly to how I felt about the Clippers now. They've got to trade Paul George or
we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there.
I know, but I'm just saying, since we're talking this series and that's who they the Suns just eliminated them. But I'm just saying they're similar. There are a lot of teams that got that pressure. Lakers too. I mean, there's so many teams in that situation in the West.
The Lakers are a little bit different because they're playing year to year based on LeBron. So
they can run this second team back, but like next year is the absolute last year to get one full year out of that group.
Yes, but the Bucks too.
They're up 16. Headed to the fourth. They're going to win this game, which we expected. But I agree. Certainly, if they lose, I think regardless of what the Bucks do, that Chris Middleton's out next year because he's injured. And
they're old.
He's old. Drew's old, but Drew's also coming off Drew's best season. So Chris Middleton is the prime guy that's going to get cut. He's going to be the one that's gone.
I'm just saying overall, like even though Brook Lopez is playing well,
Brooks had his best non-net season of his career this year.
Joe Ingles.
And you can argue defensively he had his best season ever. So
Joe Ingles old. What has Jay Crowder done for them?
Those are bench guys. You can reshuffle bench guys. You know that. Like the vets, those guys can get reshuffled, like in this league. But Middleton's the obvious guy that goes. I'm saying in a Denver situation, there is no obvious, like, we have to cut this dude. Like, I guess we can see what happens in that series, but there's no obvious, as of going into the series, there's not somebody that I look at now and I'm like, yes, we have to get his ass out of here. Like, Chris Middleton is the guy that you get rid of no matter what happens with the Bucks. He's the guy that gets cut from that team. Like, you move on from him.
And superstar Jamal Murray is the guy you let go from Denver.
How? When he's been the dude that's been performing in the playoffs. He's been playing his ass off, bro. I know it was just Minnesota, but he's shown up when he's played. He's been hurt, but when he's played in the playoffs, he's been their low-key, their best player in the playoffs. He's been a better player. Jokic had a triple-double yesterday, but Jamal Murray still had 36 or something. Like, so he's the guy that has been stirring that drink in the playoffs.
Let's see, he had 30.
That's why they got swept with Jokic against the Suns that year, because they didn't have Murray. Like,
but here's why. Here's my issue with Jamal Murray. I'm going to go through his game log in the playoffs. Game 1, 24 on 9 of 22. Game 2, 40, 13 of 22. Game 3, 18 on 7 of 16. Game 4, 19 on 8 of 21. Game 5, 35 on 12 of 23. I don't know what I'm getting with Jamal Murray when he comes to the arena every day. I can get, dang, man, this guy should be an all-star. Or I get, oh, man, this guy is CJ McCollum light. This guy might be better off in a Tyler Hero role.
CJ McCollum, though.
Huh?
He's been a bigger performer than CJ McCollum.
The point that I'm making is he's an inconsistent scorer who somehow averages around about 20, 21 a game. And it's because of it's because of the inconsistency. He can go off, but he cannot put together game after game after game of consistent high-level play.
Just because you did put those guys' numbers together. So tell me this. If Kyrie tells Mark Cuban, I'm not fucking signing there.
Oh, he's going to LA. We already know that.
What are the Lakers? I mean, obviously they just won't pick up D'Lo, but does that work in the cap, or has it got to be a sign and trade? But what if Denver in this situation says, hey, we'll give you guys Jamal Murray, who might fit better anyway. I don't know, but like, or we'll give you Michael Porter and we'll move Jamal to the 2. We'll give you Porter and a pick because you guys lost a pick in that Nets trade. We'll give you Porter and a pick and a sign and trade for Kyrie. And Kyrie goes to Denver. And Kyrie signs that 5-year, 200, whatever that number is.
If I'm Denver, I'd rather move off of Murray.
Okay. And well, let's just say that that's the deal. But
I personally, if I'm trying to win a championship,
Kyrie would prefer to go to LA, but certainly Dallas wouldn't oblige with that LA shit. They don't want D'Angelo Russell.
I would if I'm Denver, I'd make that move three times, whatever, what?
Twice on Sunday.
Yeah, whatever that shit is. Yeah, every day, twice on Sunday. But I'm higher on Kyrie than the NBA media is. But let's get to another. Let's get to the team that got eliminated. Not Minnesota. Not that bullshit assault charge is getting thrown at my guy Ant for moving a chair in an awkward manner.
It was. I only saw it because it just got put into the group, but like. I thought that it was dumb as hell. Like, I mean, it's a stupid situation all around. In reality, I get how upset he is, and he's only 21, and a lot of people have to kind of look at it as this is still a 21-year-old kid. But, hey, man, frustration understood. Like, I get it. You already had a teammate that was out for the playoffs because they punched a fucking wall. Like, I don't know. There's just, like, little stuff to where you're just kind of like, bro, let's just not even do this because we've seen this stuff happen before. Who was it in the football game that it was it Nuke? No, who was it? It was Devontae Adams. If you remember, like Devontae Adams was walking and like fucking like and now it's totally different, but it's reckless behavior is what's the common theme. He is walking and just shoves this guy. And it's like the same thing. It's like there are people around, and more importantly, bro, like, I know you're frustrated, like you just got eliminated, but don't act surprised that you got eliminated too when you know, like, the series was over when you were down 3-0. And it's just like,
but I don't think he believes the series is over.
But it's also dumb as fuck that this is even a charge too.
Bro, it's in this suing culture that we live in. It's, oh man, he threw this chair and it hit me. Okay, dog, you just want $1. It's stupid. But anyways, let's get to the Clippers.
Okay.
Kawhi Leonard got injured in game 1. He tried to play in game 2, or he played game 2 and set out games 3, 4, and 5. Kawhi hurt again. Kawhi, most overrated superstar of my lifetime.
Oh,
Kawhi,
38, 5 and 5 in game 1, and he had 31, 8 and 7 in game 2.
and didn't play again. You know, your best ability.
Well, he played the full game. It's not like he left in the third quarter. He played it. Yeah. He played for the final buzzard in game 2. I mean,
he just played more. You know,
there was also that weird ass news that came out about his sister fucking going to jail for life too. And I don't know if that has anything to do with any of this. Why? Maybe he could have played through it. We don't know how serious the torn meniscus is.
Well, let's talk Kawhi, right? He's been getting talked about a lot by the national basketball media. Some are saying that he should retire. They're questioning his love for the game. They're questioning his injury, and I think all of that is nonsense. Okay, now if we can disagree on someone's pain threshold that they're willing to play through, but he's entitled, any athlete's entitled to set the pain threshold that they're going to push through themselves, because at the end of the day, it's their body and they have to live with that body. So if Kawhi doesn't want to play until he's 100% or doesn't want to play until he's 90%, but Jimmy Butler will play at 65%, well, they're two different people and you got to accept them for what it's worth. So should Kawhi retire? My short answer is no, not if he wants to play basketball and if teams will continue to pay him to be on their roster. Why would you walk away from $40+ million a year to maybe come to work or maybe not to come to work, but you're doing something that you love doing? Insane to walk away from that. But also, if I'm an owner, and I'm not Steve Ballmer, because Steve Ballmer's in a tough spot. He's on the roster. I don't know what I can get from you. For you, and I also am about to open up a new stadium after next season. So I need you in 2024, 2025. I need you to be healthy and to put you on these billboards, right? I
need whoever your replacement is
to be a headliner, right?
Yeah.
But if Kawhi is a free agent this summer and I'm trying to build a championship team and he's interested, is he when he calls my phone, do I say, hey, whatever you want, you got it, and you come here? No. No. In a vacuum, hell no. Now, if my job's on the line, a little bit different. But in a vacuum, no, because again, your best ability is availability. And since Kawhi got hurt against the Warriors, his availability has not been what you'd want from a superstar. If you check the numbers, hold on, let me finish. If you check, he played a fair amount of games for the Raptors. He got you what you needed. Even this year, he played a decent. He played enough, right? He played enough, but he missed this year's playoff run. He only played 2 of the 5 games. He was out all of last year. The year before, he got hurt in the second round of the playoffs. Before they made the Western Conference Finals. And then you had the bubble year where he played, but they got eliminated after having a 3-1 lead on Denver. I don't want that individual to be one of my core players. It's not a knock on his talent. It is just a hit on his availability. If I'm an owner and I'm cutting checks, I don't want to cut a $45 million check for a guy who I'm only getting 45% of the time. If I'm a GM, I am not trying to have my legacy, my professional reputation tied to a guy who's not available. Again, this is all in a vacuum. Because what we lose in these conversations about would you sign that guy? Should they move on from this guy? What pressure am I under from my organization? What is my standing in this organization? What are we trying to do? Are we trying to win? Are we trying to sell jerseys? Are we just trying to get into the play-in and maybe the playoffs? Are we trying to win championships? All of this stuff matters. And your description of what you're going to do on keeping a player or moving on from a player.
And I'm 100% with you on that. Like I expounded upon it in the group chat when I talked about the Clippers need to make a move. They need to make a move. Now, my suggestion would be that Paul George is the one you move on from. And here's why. Granted, his time in a Clippers uniform, he's accomplished more than Kawhi. Because he actually did go to the Western Conference Finals, and Kawhi was the one that wasn't there. But at the same time, what has he accomplished in his career? I saw him play with Russell Westbrook immediately after Kevin Durant left, and he had Carmelo Anthony too, and those guys were first-round exits. He lives off of this Pacers Heat thing from a decade ago. Like, he lives off of it. As a player on his own, aside from, like obviously he has a questionable injury history too, and he was the one that wasn't available at all during this series. He has a questionable injury history too. Why is it that I would get rid of the guy that's won 2 championships and was the best player on those championship teams? Kawhi was the best player on that Spurs team because that was an old Tim Duncan. It was an old Manu Ginobili. It was an old Tony Parker. He was the best player on that team. They were so evenly balanced and so well coached to where people didn't look at it that way. But as soon as those guys left the very next year, basically, and then I think Tony stayed one more, and then was like the Charlotte, and then Manu might have been there one more. Like, Kawhi won 67 games as the best player. Now, they had LaMarcus Aldridge, but it was Kawhi's team. And so, like, I don't know. I want to keep the guy that's won and that's more accomplished. I'm keeping and he's a year younger. I'm keeping that dude. That's who I want to keep. Paul's the one that I'm looking to shop. That's who I want to get out of my building. Not even if, because they have to make a move. Like, they do have to make a move. They've got to make a move. I'm trading them, and ideally in that perfect scenario, we're not only making a trade, but I'm calling Portland. That's the first team I'm calling. I'm saying we got Paul George and whatever else you want, not named Kawhi Leonard. We're not going to give you, obviously, Norman Powell back or something. Like we're willing to give you some picks and stuff. Like, we need Dame Lillard here.
You remember at the beginning of the show when I said a dime is worth more than a nickel? I want to adjust that just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
A dime is worth more than a nickel, but neither can buy you shit. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, because of their injury history, a dime and a nickel.
Well, you can't trade. You can't trade
Kawhi,
both.
Kawhi's the dime. Paul George is the nickel. One's worth more than the other. But at the end of the day, neither of them can buy you shit. Because when you need them most, they're not available. Whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, they're not there. So, sure, let's bring in Dame Lillard and pair him with Kawhi Leonard. It's great on paper. I think Dame can take a lot of the Dame can do the stuff that that Kawhi's just not gonna do. You know, Kawhi's not gonna talk to the media. He's gonna do the bare minimum in the press conference. It's like he's just kind of a weird dude. I mean, it's his life. Do what you do, man. Like,
Hey, he's a San Diego guy, isn't he? I mean, I know he's from LA, but like, he's a San Diego guy.
he lives in San Diego. Went to San Diego State. Yeah, but he's just kind of a low key. And they say like he
San
just don't.
Diego versus LA. Much
They,
more.
and they say he doesn't fuck with the media, but like behind closed doors, he's like a cool guy, makes jokes, all that stuff. The team group takes all of that. I don't know him.
He was
But
in
from the
Drake's video.
Say again.
He was in Drake's video with Future and Young Thug doing the
Right.
Yeah, clearly he's got a sense of humor. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I would just struggle building around Kawhi Leonard because we're seeing for the Clippers. This is his first time as the centerpiece of a franchise, and this is what we get. We get the inconsistency of Kawhi it reflects on the franchise because the Clippers have been wildly inconsistent throughout his tenure there. So that's why I would struggle building around him. Paul George, you don't build around Paul George. You bring him in to be your second best player, and he may be more talented than your best player, but he's the number 2 guy on your team. You don't build a team around Paul George.
exactly. He's not your one. Like Kawhi Leonard, I feel like you can win a championship if he's your one. As long as he's healthy, you can win a championship with that being your best player.
Yes, but it has to come in the ways that he won the championship. And the way that he won his championship were 2 specific franchises who Toronto is not a small market in Toronto's not a small market in the global market, right?
It's an international city, yeah.
But it's a small market in the NBA in the sense that they have to overpay to get people to come there. People just don't want to come there as a destination and stuff, right?
Yeah, because they don't want to move their family out of the country.
Yeah, they don't want to have to go through
They want
customs.
them to grow up in Canada. Like they want them to grow up in the United States.
But the point being is Toronto has to build their team with a pretty specific formula in order to be successful. They can't just go, hey, we're going to just hit the free agent market and get the best guys out there. You got to find overachievers. You got to find international guys. You got to find guys who are going to buy into the system and stuff like that, right? Similar to San Antonio. We got to draft well, go find diamonds in the rough because there's 2 other Texas teams in markets that people want to live in. People leave their families to go to Dallas. People leave their families to go to Houston. Ain't nobody leaving their family to volunteer to go to San Antonio. You've heard what Chuck said about San Antonio and the women there. So you have to.
He can no longer make these comments.
Right. You have to build your team a specific way. And when you build your team like that with great ancillary parts, and then you throw in a Kawhi Leonard, who he is today, yeah, you win a championship.
But let's keep it real. How many markets in the NBA can you? There's only but so many fucking roster spots. And how many markets can you actually go to and you can do it? There's like 4, maybe 5. LA, Boston, Possibly Philly. I don't know. Miami. Chicago. And even Chicago has struggled.
But
They
how
haven't
many?
done it. Like they haven't done it either. So
But but you have to look at how many franchises have stable front offices that are allowed to do a slow build. If you send me to Charlotte, I need a 6-year contract. You can't give me 4 years to build Charlotte. I got to get rid of the bullshit.
you're talking about as a coach or a GM, right?
As a coach GM combo, right? Like if front
Okay.
off, like
Okay,
you need
I agree.
like you need 6 years to build these teams, and you're not going to get 6 years. I need a couple free agent cycles. I need a couple drafts. I need job security so that I'm not making a move to get me an extension. Give me a 4-year extension to really just add 2 years to my job. I can't live paycheck to paycheck. And so many coaches are living year to year, GMs are living year to year, paycheck to paycheck, that they can't properly build teams. Whereas you get Toronto, Masai Ujiri, he has job security. Why? Because again, Toronto ownership understands that, hey man, we struggle to get the players that we need here, and getting bounced in the Eastern Conference Finals, second round by LeBron, great season. So he built all that stock up, finally was able to make that one move to get the championship. The Spurs, well, they got Tim Duncan and David Robinson on the same roster, and then just went and grabbed international players out the yin yang that they were ahead of the international stuff, right? And they made it work. They get Kawhi, they develop Kawhi. They get a DeJounte Murray, they develop a DeJounte Murray. Like, they're sitting there waiting for the next guy. They're waiting on Wemby, right? That's all they're doing. But because Pop and RC Buford have job security, they can do the 5-year build where most other guys can't. So, yeah, only a few other markets work. Milwaukee's good right now because they got lucky with Giannis. He was supposed to be Jabari Parker's lackey.
Yeah, he was. No, that's true. I get what you're saying, and I'm 100% with you. I told you this guy Draymond doesn't get any rebounds. By the way, they just flashed his number. He's got 2 on the night, but he really doesn't. Bro, he doesn't do it. And I'm sorry to just bring that up. I just looked up and I'm like, he's got 2 rebounds. But nonetheless, yes, there are certain franchises that just cannot build a certain way, and I guess we're kind of getting away from the Kawhi Clippers thing, but you can say what you want to say about it. At the end of the day, he still went there in 1 year, and they did exactly what it is they've been wanting to do since they fucking put that shit together in Toronto. They won the NBA title. He did it. They did do it. It took a Kevin Durant injury. I understand that. It took a Klay Thompson tearing his ACL in Game 6. Like, I understand what it took.
Here's the thing.
He still got it done after years and years of not even sniffing that opportunity, and they got there. They took advantage of it, and a lot of it was because of Kawhi Leonard. Game winner in Philly. That was the best team that Philly's put together. They had Jimmy Butler. They had Joel Embiid. They had J.J. Redick. They had Tobias Harris.
Yeah. Hold
on. All these dudes, and they didn't get it done. They had a prime
Brett
Ben
Brown.
Simmons. Like they
Brown.
had these dudes.
Brett Brown.
Okay, but look, they made the correction off of that. But like it took them getting swept in Boston the next year, but they finally at least moved on from him. And look, but he was a Spurs dude, so it's just like, yeah, and he hasn't worked in the NBA as a head coach since, right? Like he's not one of these guys. Like Nick Nurse is going to get a job. like Nick Nurse, we thought it would be Houston, but we'll get to see what jobs open up. But Nick Nurse is going to get a job. Like,
so the thing about the Kawhi into Toronto thing, when I don't give Kawhi like all this credit as like the centerpiece, I don't even go to the Golden State injuries. I go to a team that was this close, but they just couldn't get by LeBron. And then you take out DeMar DeRozan, All-Star, a guy who's made All-NBA more times than you think.
NBA All-Star.
Then you drop in Kawhi Leonard, a guy who in multiple years has been a top 5 guy in the league. And you go, oh shit. we've got a winner here because we have a great structure here. We have a great culture here. And all Kawhi got to do is come in and play ball. That's all he got to do.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't even got to be the face of the franchise. We got little fat ass Kyle Lowry to do that. He's got to be the best. He just has to come in and be the best player. Doesn't have to be a leader in the locker room. All you got to do is play basketball.
They had good guys. They had good guys coming off the bench too. The team was complete.
It was a great team. Yeah, they had Danny Green. They had Serge Ibaka. They had Marc Gasol
on the team, right?
Who?
Norman Powell. No.
Yes, yeah, they had Norman Powell. They had Pascal Siakam. Like, bro, they had a loaded roster, and you just pull out DeMar DeRozan, insert Kawhi Leonard. You got a championship team.
If LeBron stays in Cleveland, does that team beat them? You don't think so?
It depends on what they build around LeBron that year. It depends on where they go with that roster. Do they move the Colin pick before the draft for something?
It has to be, but they have to use it with something. Like K Love would have had to have gone, and they maybe could have got I'm not going to say Anthony Davis, but like,
well, they would have gotten a Paul.
Nobody was trading the 7. Nobody was going to take that 7 for like even if they got Kemba right or something. Like it wouldn't have been a Kemba for fucking the 7. Like they wouldn't have done that. Like I don't think Charlotte even does it.
Well, the year before they get Paul George, if LeBron commits to staying another year,
or maybe they get Paul George.
Right. So,
but he read up.
So,
I don't know. Remember the cigar folk, unfinished business. Yeah, and them motherfuckers still haven't finished that business, bro. Like, and they were teamed up again. Even though technically, I don't know how many games Russ played with Paul George. Probably 2 or 3. I don't know, but.
Hey, let's spin out of here because we got to hit some more stuff.
Yeah, come on.
You want to talk about most hated or most feared?
I thought we were going to continue at least with the playoffs.
We are.
There's not much to talk about because they're unfinished series, but like I know that's how it's circled into.
We're going to stay there. I just want to know which direction you want to go, most hated or most feared.
Hated.
All right, most hated.
Ask him to talk about with that.
Most hated. So we just watched Memphis win Game 5. I got in the shower. It was a 1-point game. Got out the shower. It's like a 25-point game. Lakers made somewhat of a run, make it interesting, but ultimately the Lakers are too old, seasoned, been there before, done that, composed under pressure, and they're going to win this series in 6 at the Crypt in a couple days. Dylan Brooks likes to poke bears, but apparently when the bear bites back, he says he's out. He doesn't want to talk to the media. I wonder if he talked to the media after today's game. I really hope he skipped his media availability today after losing. Ja skipped out on media availability after Game 4. Parlay Pete, is there a team that you hate more than the Memphis Grizzlies? Like, hold on. Let me bring it back before I pass it to you. Like, we're gonna do that quick little dribble handoff, but I want it right back to reset my dribble.
It doesn't matter what you say. No.
The young guy who wants to tell the old heads how life's supposed to be lived because they've seen a little bit of success. It's like the cryptocurrency billionaire trying to tell the whole world that the future is NFTs, cryptocurrency. Maybe you just hit big on this, but real estate's not going anywhere. I promise you. Dealing with profitable companies who have been profitable for many, many years, shit's not going anywhere. Okay? It's just not. There's a reason why it's hard to get Apple stock and Tesla stock to make money off of because it's so fucking expensive because it's valuable. All right. It's Gen Z saying, hey, quit that job. Protect your peace. Hey, dog, when you gonna get your own spot? When you gonna move in out your mama house? You know what I mean? Why you got 4 roommates? Hold on. Gen Z, you're 22. What the fuck have you done in life to tell my 31-year-old ass about success? You're not even old enough to be successful by American standards. I'm not old enough to be successful by American standards. You usually don't get your success until your mid-40s. You know what I mean? Like, Memphis is so Gen Z. They want to talk all this shit. They don't want to face the music when they're terrible. And they haven't accomplished a damn thing. Oh, no, we good with the West. How you good with the West and you ain't made it out the second round, Ja? How you so good? What have you done in the West to make you so good? You ain't Braun, who done been there before in the West and East. You ain't AD, who was the best player in the bubble. Hell, you're not even Devin Booker, who's been to a finals. You're not Kevin Durant, a two-time champion. You're not Draymond Green, the catalyst, the unsung hero behind the Warriors dynasty. Nigga, you're not fucking you're not Joel Anthony, who was a starting big man for the Heatles. Nigga, what have you done?
Nothing. You haven't made an All-NBA first team yet in your career. And once they announce it, Shea, a nigga your same age, got his own team too in a smaller market just like you that isn't the number 2 seed in the West, is going to have an accomplishment that you don't have. And he's already been traded once. So they can miss me with that. But to go back to your original question, is there a team I hate more? I can't stand the Memphis Grizzlies. Like, we talked about this in pre-production, and I was trying to think of a team just in my life that I've watched that I disliked. I was thinking of all the teams I disliked and the players that were on them that made me dislike them. I can't think of a team that I dislike more than them. And I was a big Ja guy going into the draft. I really was, because I remember watching Murray State because I was betting on them, and just in general, it wasn't just betting on them, but Ja Morant was on SportsCenter every other night. And it reminded me how Trae Young the year before was on SportsCenter every other night. He was always there, and it was like, man, this guy looks like Russell Westbrook, but maybe better, that he could potentially be a better Russell Westbrook. That's what it looked like. Because Ja, what people don't even realize, Ja was getting like close to a triple-double in college too. So like, he was doing, with the explosiveness in his offensive game, his athleticism, he looked like Russell Westbrook, but potentially a better version of it. Maybe even Derrick Rose sprinkled in. Like, he's clearly one of those type of guys. Now he's Ja Hardy, right? But like, for those that don't know, Jeff Hardy, WWF/WWE wrestler, one half of the Hardy Boys. But
one-time bomb and shit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Made the TLC matches, everything, really, the history of any tables, ladders, and chairs type of match. Them and the Dudleys, and of course Edge and Christian. But I digress. That's whole nother conversation, and we can talk wrestling another time. But point being, I don't like this team because of people like Dylan Brooks, and he gets to be the anti-Draymond of the team, in a sense of he wants to be Draymond Green because he's the mouth of the South for that team. But like, at the same time, that was another wrestling reference for those that did not or did catch it. He wants to be like the mouth of the South, essentially. And like, it's one of those things where he's not accomplished or good enough to be a Draymond Green, but he talks like he's Draymond Green. Like, he's that important to the team. When then there's reports that come out about, man, they tried to move his ass and nobody wanted him type shit. You add that in. I like Jaren Jackson. I think he's a slightly overrated player, but like, not really. I don't know. He's such a weird case, but he never talks that talk. He goes out and plays ball. So I like him. He's like the most likable player on that team, honestly. Ja is the definition of kind of what you just said the team was as an identity, because he is the leader. He's the identity of that team. It's a Gen Z team, like you said. So like, he's popular. He's a good player. He's a great, we could even maybe say great. No, he's not great yet because he hasn't done anything, like you said. You need to do something before you can be considered great. I hate loosely throwing that term around. He's great. No, he isn't. What has he done that tells us that he's great? And even if he does do something, let's say he makes All-NBA first team next year. What has he done that makes him so great? Like
he beat the Warriors in the play-in 2 years ago.
Oh, Man, and then what happened? He got gentlemen swept by the Utah Jazz and Donovan Mitchell and fucking Rudy Gobert, two guys that are sitting at home right now, literally. Like they're sitting at home. Like they're
just waiting on him. They're waiting on him right now to get home.
Yeah, I know. They're gonna pull up and be like, "Hey, man, kept it warm for you. I'm gonna go get the nachos." You know,
No. We in Cancun with it already. We in Tulum with it. Come on, we got the honeys and the perk 30s.
Exactly. And so, because I know that's what them Gen Z niggas be doing, right?
I don't niggas be doing perks, bro.
Well, I don't know. Well, I tell you what, the music that's popularized today that they listen to, that's really all it talks about. How about that? I know that there are niggas our age / niggas older than us that do that, but like drugs are drugs, but they popularize it a little bit more in this era, I guess. Is kind of what I'm saying.
And you know, here's the thing. It's like when you're that young kid and you talking your talk, it's cute at first because we're like, okay, yeah, he up and coming, he gonna do it. Then it's like, all right, yeah, they young next year. All right, yeah, they still young, but in the key moments, they ain't.
Are you looking at the top right screen?
I'm looking at
on the TV.
I'm looking at Miami right now.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You're watching the game. See, I don't have that game on.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I just see it's a 2-point game, so I'm just curious as to what's going on.
Oh, bro, it was just tied. Kevin Love tried to cut off Chris Middleton on the sideline. They called a blocking foul. Chris Middleton made 2 free throws, and Kevin Love fouled out. It was a pretty weak call, but I mean,
so Miami ball with 27 seconds.
Yeah. So here, guys, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get back to Memphis, but we're gonna watch these last 27 seconds.
Butt's going for the kill. That's on NBA TV, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm turning it there now because I have it on the Kings game. Butt's going for the kill, and he's gonna do it this time. He's not gonna miss. Like
he smoked it.
He shot it.
Yeah, you fucking right.
All right, I just wanted to make sure. All right, I'm seeing it now, and he did go for the 3 too.
You knew he was.
Foul Chris Middleton's ass. That's exactly who I would want at the line. Get his hurt. I mean, well, you want Giannis, but
Giannis isn't touching the ball right now. He wants no parts of the basketball. Well, we got a little bit of a break, so maybe we can put a bow on Memphis.
Yeah, let's do it. Most hated team by far in the league.
Yeah, and I tried to go through teams that I hate. You know, the Dallas Mavericks are pretty high on that list, but that's not because of the players. It's just because of
Denver.
Yeah, I was getting there. Because of the way they're covered. Same with Denver. It's just the way that they're covered. It really makes me not like them. Growing up, I didn't really like the Spurs, but that's just because they were boring. I didn't have an appreciation for the game that I have now. You know,
did you like the Detroit Pistons? Because to me, they were the East version.
I did like those Pistons.
Well, why? They were the same thing. They weren't that entertaining to watch. They were. Hey, we won 82-69 today. Like
I got
basketball.
This is when I started my anti-Kobe phase in life.
Okay, so it started in 2004.
Somewhere around 2003.
Great shit was coming up, and
yeah.
He's feuding. He's openly feuding with Shaq, and then there's Karl Malone too going in.
Yeah. So that's kind of
back then. I get it, arrogant. It's like the one word that was always associated with Kobe. But like, what made you hate Kobe Bryant?
It was probably the rape allegation as a kid, not knowing the bigger picture around it, and being a young moralist, and then Bron showing up shortly thereafter, and then these guys getting pitted against each other. And I was
say something about LeBron.
And I was a Bron fan in 2002. Like I was a St. Vincent St. Mary LeBron guy. Like I was waiting for this guy to get to the league type shit.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what propelled the Kobe hate at such a young age. And then it was Kobe fans, man. Like I just got tired of Kobe fans. They were just so most of my sports hate comes from fans. Except for Memphis. Memphis, just because I don't want them young niggas get on my nerves. Like if I was a vet on their team, I'd be like, hey, bro, y'all didn't want to shut the hell up. Yes. We beat OKC. Shay didn't play. Giddy didn't play. Why are you doing the gritty,
Miami
Josh?
just made a 3.
You're ahead of me.
1 point game.
You're ahead of me.
I'm looking on Bovada, but
okay.
yeah. I'm behind. Drew Holiday's still shooting free throw number 2 for me.
Same.
I just know that he made a 3.
Looks like Golden State's gonna win tonight.
They are, and I took them too. But hold on. So let's see how this 3 shakes out. Who makes it? Question.
Vincent. Oh shit!
Wow. He just pulled up too.
That's a bad foul call.
Hold on, let me see.
Ball.
Oh, that is a bad foul call. Do they have their challenge? Maybe.
I wish I had my volume up just so I could hear the whistle. Unless they call a foul.
Yeah, make that a jump ball.
They're about to. But if they're going to call a foul,
a foul is low key on Middleton.
Yeah. That should be a foul on Middleton.
So they do have their challenge.
Hey, real quick.
Wow, what if they close them out?
I would love it. While we're watching this, and it may be better to wait till the game's over, but do you fear anybody in these playoffs more than playoff Jimmy? In a vacuum.
Yeah.
Who you got?
LeBron.
Who else?
I fear the guy that goes to that I saw go to the finals 9 straight times.
So I kind of
now granted I'm a Lakers fan, but like my team is not somebody that his team's on, that's who I fear. Because he's no offense to Jimmy hasn't won anything. So he's another guy that has my respect, unlike like Ja and them. But like, yeah, I fear LeBron James, bro. There's when you start talking about guys, like I said, and I'm a basketball person, right? But like at the same time, obviously growing up a Kobe fan, like this is a dude that played against the dudes that I thought were the best ever. And him or, if it's not LeBron, certainly Steph Curry in the playoff. That is still somebody I don't want to see either. Those are the guys that I fear. In the playoffs right now, it's those two. The two dudes that got the most blame.
So give me your top 5. If I gave you a top 5, I would go Bron 1, Steph 2, KD 3 because he's done it.
Well, and just if the game's on the line, if it's if let's say Miami had the ball and it's not a foul, but it's Miami ball or something, if KD's on the other team, you know that he can make that shot, and it's nothing.
I'm gonna go playoff Jimmy 4. He's in my top 5 of scariest players.
I'm with you there. And
part of me wants to say Trae Young 5, but there's no way.
Foul on Middleton. Hold on. No, it's a jump ball. I figure even though they should have called the foul, but because they didn't call the foul on him, I knew it would be a jump ball, low key. They got to win this jump ball. But here's the issue. It's Middleton. It's probably Middleton versus Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, so, Kyle Lowry can't jump.
Well, even if he could jump, he's just not going to win that ball.
But
look at Gucci Man out there roughing, man. That's so crazy.
I would like to say Trae Young is my 5, but I can't because you got to
win something first.
You got Jamal Murray.
If the Hawks went to the finals that year, I would definitely maybe have him in that.
You still got Jamal Murray. No, you got a regular jump ball. You got Bam versus Brook Lopez.
What happens if Miami gets it? They have a timeout still, so they could just call it.
Yeah, I think you call it timeout.
Like maybe if Jimmy grabs it,
Jimmy's going downhill if he gets it.
But Spo might call it. Come on, throw the jump ball.
He threw it away. They're going to call that bullshit foul on Giannis because he threw the ball away. They weren't going to call that foul if Drew caught it. That's what's bullshit. Or Middleton called. They were not calling that foul.
So what's the foul?
On Giannis. Oh, did he save it?
They did. I think that they're saying that.
Giannis is about to shoot free throws.
I don't know.
How'd the foul on Drew out? He smoked it. They called the foul
They
on
need to
Drew.
review if it was out on Middleton, though.
But they called a foul. Like, how did Drew get fouled?
Damn, it's 2.1. He might want to miss this. I don't know if I make it. I might miss this on purpose, man.
For the sake of time, probably. Jimmy's shooting a three. Bam at the rim or Jimmy for three.
Well, I tell you what, and in a series where you got guys that have championships like Spo and Bud, Spo obviously
Much better
coach. I don't know if he's much better. Let's stop acting like Bud's not a good coach. Bud's a good coach, man. And I get it. He's like I said, he's a Kevin Durant one size down away from just coaching in, I don't know, Charlotte or something. I don't know. Like he's that away from doing that or coaching in like Orlando. But at the same time, is that Brendan Haywood?
I can't. I don't know.
Calling the game?
Maybe. I have my volume off.
Okay. I
it's
got
coming through.
5 or 6, but
I'm watching the monitor.
the chances of them making a 3 here is so slim to none. But gosh, it could so happen. And
does Jason Tatum crack your top 5 of most feared players in the playoffs?
no. Champions do. Only the champions, for the most part, are the guys that have been. And Tatum's been, but like I just saw Jason Tatum go for 19 and 1 for 11 from 3 yesterday in a closeout game where you were up 10 in the fourth quarter against no offense, the Atlanta Hawks without arguably their best player. So like, I don't fear that, to be completely honest.
Jaylen Brown scares me more than Jason Tatum, honestly. You know what? I probably got to put Clay on that list because even though he can't dribble, that boy can shoot.
Holy shit.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Let me watch it. Do not ruin my experience. Don't ruin my experience. God, I hate you.
Ruin your experience.
Golly, fucking Milwaukee.
Jimmy Butler, nigga. All right, so Jimmy's definitely 4. He's 4 behind the 3 guys.
Oh, no, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Oh, I thought you had already seen it.
Let's go to OT.
They really should have called a foul. Let's keep it 100.
Yeah, that was a foul.
They called a fucking foul there, and they just didn't do it
because they couldn't do it. Adam made the call.
Hey, Miami's gonna win this game.
Drew just over there looking lost.
Miami's gonna win this game. They're flustered, bro. Why they could have low-key called a foul.
Yeah.
He kind of got pushed off. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, they most definitely could have called a foul.
Jimmy got 40.
So, all right. But back to while they do this, they sort this out for OT. Jimmy is 4. I like your first 4. I don't know if it's 5.
Clay, maybe. Like, what?
I got to think about
Aaron
big
Rodgers
playoff performance guys, though. Hold on. Let me just think about who's still in. Because obviously the Clippers are out and Kawhi wasn't playing, but Kawhi would have certainly been my 5th guy. He's made a game winner and won a title. So, and he's won 2 titles, but he's made a game winner too. Like he's shown a clutch game. Hold on.
Yeah,
hold on. I gotta think. Hell, maybe even Paul George.
Who is this guy? URD Turner.
I think I know who that is, but
I think I know who it is.
We did see that Turner 7.
I think I know who that is. I think it's a good friend of mine. Yeah, we saw that. Yeah, we're watching the game. That's kind of why we're stuttering through this last 20 minutes.
Right. But wait, seriously, let me think about the teams that are in. Giannis showed it in Game 6 when he had that like 50 or 55. Bro, he still did that. And he like missed. He was like 16 of 17 from the free throw line or something.
Maybe you put him in there because you can't.
But games like this define shit like this too.
Yeah.
Like if they lose this game, I get that he's hurt. He's got to be playing hurt, but like,
yeah, he's super hurt.
But he just threw the ball away low key.
Yeah.
I ain't nobody fearing that. And plus, he still is not a good free throw shooter, even though he showed up when he needed to make them.
He's not a good jump shooter.
Hold on. Let me just look at the playoffs. Hey, you want to know who might need to get some more respect? And he's not number 5, but you know who might need some more respect?
Street clothes.
No, the last 2 playoffs. What player is still in the playoffs has played well, and his team's not in the playoffs from last year? He just advanced to the second round today.
Jalen Brunson.
He's not my number 5. I'm just saying honorable mention, maybe.
Jalen Brunson?
Yeah, man.
I mean, he's showing some chops.
what do you want to hear? Like, yeah, Giannis went off. I mean, not Giannis. Luka went off, but I'm just saying the brother, look, he's doing what he's doing. If Miami wins, I like Miami against the Knicks, but would it really shock you if the Knicks could beat the Heat? It wouldn't shock me. The Knicks probably have the second best record in the NBA since All-Star break. We got
a 4-point game in Sacramento, by the way, too.
Well, the Heat are up though. Oh,
yeah, I know.
Man, they're getting after it.
Hey, that boy Giannis is shook. Hey, we'll just let you guys know we're going to run a little long in this second hour because we're just watching playoff basketball. DeJounte Murray suspension, was it necessary?
DeJounte Murray. The suspension was because you can't touch a ref. I mean, that's just like common sense. He was going to get suspended. Like, we knew that after the footage came out. Now, the real question is, if somebody doesn't record from the stands, do they get that footage?
They get the footage. I think they get the footage, but I don't think they care
enough to suspend him, and he gets a $50,000 fine.
Yeah, like
the game was over too. It wasn't like it was during the game.
And I honestly don't think he was. I don't think he was trying to bump the ref.
I do. I think that he was trying to intimidate him because he was talking shit as he walked away too.
I think he was trying to intimidate him, but I think his angle was a little off. I really want Sac to win.
Now you got both TVs up, right?
Well, yeah. So I got a split screen on the monitor that I'm recording on, and then I got my laptop up with the other game, and it's really hard to follow on this little laptop with the angle that I got. I actually should unplug it for the charger so I can get it.
Jimmy needs to take over. Milwaukee's missing free throws. Boy, man, if they knock them out, man,
I mean, we got to reevaluate how we feel about Giannis. We got to reevaluate how we feel about Bud. Like, there's a lot that has to go on here. I mean,
they're both safe. I mean, Giannis is there. It doesn't really matter with him. But Bud gets put on the hot seat. He's not going to get fired this offseason.
No.
He definitely is on the hot seat for next year. Like, if they don't at least make a Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals, they consider getting rid of him.
But I also don't want to hear Giannis best player in the league anymore if they get put out in the first round by 8 seed.
He's got 33 and 16. Now he's 9 of 19 from the free throw line. That's very that's not even Shaq. I mean, that is Shaq. Shaq's about a 50% free throw shooter.
But here's the thing. He hasn't looked like the best player on the court today.
He hasn't, but he also, for what it's worth, he's missed 2 games in the series. Like, he was clearly really hurt. Like, that fall was pretty fucking hard. Like, he's hurt. He's playing hurt. He's not 100%. He's not. I think he's 70, 60%.
He's on the court. 34 is playing.
He is. No, I'm not taking that away. I'm just saying. I think he's playing 70, 60% right now. So Kyle Lowry's ass might have fouled out. It looks like
that was a bad foul call. Brooke Lopez fouled Bam. If you want,
like I know you don't love it because you want to see Milwaukee lose, but I know you just hate Kyle Lowry because he's not this, he's this.
What? I didn't like the foul call on Kyle Lowry because you don't let Jimmy land with Brook on the closeout.
Oh man, I really think Miami's gonna win this game.
I also don't like Giannis guarding Caleb Martin in this moment. Go guard Jimmy. Drew's getting cooked. Drew's getting cooked.
Miami is gonna win this game, bro.
Drew is getting cooked by Jimmy all series. Giannis, go guard him.
Bro, Miami's about to win this game. You know that, right?
Yeah. And Jimmy,
let's throw a little chicken in the pot.
Let's do it.
What happens if the Hawks win tomorrow? If the Hawks win tomorrow and we get a game 7 in Boston. Now, most people, the expectation is that the Hawks get blown out. That will be the expectation, that they will lose by double digits in Boston. That's going to be the thought. But if the Hawks do get out of it.
Hey, we got a 1-point game in Sacramento, by the way.
Oh, man, Miami could really put the dagger in them right now.
Yeah, they can.
Oh, boy, they just did. Holy fuck. Holy fuck.
They're giving Giannis the Giannis call.
But it doesn't matter if Jimmy comes down and scores again. Bro, he still got to make 2 free throws to make it.
How many fouls Bam has? Bam just fouled out though. Shit.
You got 2 minutes. Jimmy can hold a 5-point lead with 2 minutes. And
how is that a foul though? Like,
well, we've seen I don't think that's a foul.
I don't either, man. Like, the Heat done had 3 people foul out. Kevin Love fouled out. Bam done fouled out.
And he just missed a free throw.
Well, he's Giannis. What do you expect?
He made him in that NBA Finals. I'm just saying. But, by the way, for that 5th player, because we can't really choose a guy that has the experience, I would say Jamal Murray has more so shown up in the playoffs more. Because Devin Booker has even closed up before in the playoffs. So
I would have said Donovan Mitchell before the series started. And I can't pick Jamal Murray. I can't pick Jamal Murray over Trae Young.
Murray outdueled him.
I can't pick Jamal Murray over Trae. I can't pick Jamal Murray over Trae Young because Jamal Murray has not done as the best player on his team.
But Trae Young was voted the most overrated player. Oh yeah, this thing is over, baby.
Oh well, they can vote him that. Oh, Wes Matthews, come here.
Oh, it's over, bro.
Can I have his dance?
Hold on, I gotta get in the group now. It's over.
Don't jinx it. It's still early. We still got a minute 45.
It's a 7-point game. This game is over, brother. It's over. They're not blowing a 7-point game. It's over.
Oh wow!
If make a 3 here, bro. It's over. Like it's over.
You can't let Tyler Zeller get a dunk in overtime with his balding head and his mask.
They're going home, okay? Or they're staying home. Actually, they're going to Cancun. All right. Actually, they got more. These guys have too much money to go to Cancun. These guys are going to Turks and Caicos. All right, that's where they're headed.
Giannis might go back to Greece. He might go back and see the fam.
Santorini?
No. He's going to go back to the hood where he's from.
Athens?
I don't know.
Well, or outside of Athens or whatever.
He's going to have to go back and because he's not going to want to go have fun in Santorini. Him and his brothers, the ones who are just being laundered millions of dollars to play in the NBA.
Oh, you think it's money laundering?
I think that Giannis gets paid over the max through his brothers. Let me take this bill off your hands, Giannis.
All right, so Chris Middleton's gone. He's gone after this. This is his last game in a Bucks uniform.
Wow, that was a 3 free throw foul?
It didn't look like it, right? I didn't think it was. But I told you they needed a 3. They had to at least get 3 here. If they didn't get 3, it was over. And now, there you go. So now it is a game. I still think it's over. I don't give a fuck.
We're one bullshit push-off call or no call at the rim and a Giannis.
Jimmy has to sell out. I don't think that he's going to let them lose this game.
He just turned it over, and Giannis is head full of steam.
I know it's a 2-point game, but I'm saying.
Oh yeah, you're ahead of me. Or you're looking at Bovada because you're a cheater.
I'm a bettor. I don't know what to tell you, but well, I know what happens, but I won't say anything.
Sounds like Jimmy's getting a bucket.
Or the whistles are working.
Is it over yet?
You're about to see. It's going to be a whistle call. Just imagine what side you think it gets called on.
Oh well, that's 3 shots right there. That should be 3 shots. Yeah, Giannis, don't look at it, bro. I hate when they look at the huh?
You didn't let him land.
Yeah, like that's an obvious foul. Like, what are we looking at here?
And Max Strus is a pretty good free throw shooter, so he closed out against the Bulls. Man, think about this. This is what makes the Heat thing so crazy. The Heat were down like 7 points to the Bulls with like 5 minutes in the fourth quarter, about to go home and not even make the playoff. That's what makes this so remarkable.
The Hawks beat the dog shit out of these niggas.
They did, but this is why if they can win tomorrow, like we kind of spoke, like I said earlier, like what happens if the Hawks beat the Celtics and you have the top 2 seeds out? We play Philly, a team that I hate to say it, I don't give a fuck if Ben Simmons is in there or not. We have their number in the playoffs as far as I'm concerned because we played them recently and we've taken them out.
Your boy Draymond ain't getting rebounds, but he just hit a clutch bucket, then got a steal on the next possession.
Strus just missed the 3rd free throw.
Shocker.
But Milwaukee misses. And then they get the offensive rebound and score. So back to a 2-point game with 27 seconds. Now, the real question is if you're Milwaukee, do you foul? Because you're only going to have 3 seconds if they miss. You almost might have to. Maybe. Or you could be Miami and take a stupid fucking shot.
Is that what they did? I don't want double overtime. I would love to get this other game on my big screen.
I'm showing 0-0-0 on my screen, but nothing has happened. I don't want to break the news, but the Milwaukee Bucks have been eliminated from the playoffs, dude.
Get these bums out of here.
I'm about to see how it plays out. They're out.
Oh, golly. Grayson Allen. Is this your king? Get this guy out of here. Yo, get Giannis out of here. I don't want to hear nothing about Giannis. Mr. First Round. Get this man out of here.
This could be one of those things that makes him better, though.
Yeah, it does. It makes him better.
I mean, what a poor final possession. Did they have a timeout? If I'm Bud, I call the timeout and run a play. I mean, but you know what? Giannis missed a lot of free throws, man. I mean,
yeah.
But you know what? Here's going to be an underrated move, and I have no idea what he did tonight, but just seeing him on the screen. Let me see. What did Kevin Love do tonight?
He was playing well until he fouled out.
Hey, 15 and 12.
Talk about a bad decision to buy him out, I think.
15 and 12. Yeah, on the team that yeah. They most definitely could have used him.
Let me see what we got. Well,
all right, so we get Miami, New York. Wow.
I just bought I bought me a cigar today. smoke after the pod. And I thought I was going to celebrate, pod in my new building.
Is it a Greek cigar?
It's going to be tonight. We smoking on that Giannis pack.
Okay.
Smoking on that buck.
You got some antlers in there, huh? Crushed up antler?
Yeah. Man, come on, man. This is a joke.
That's tough, man. Yikes. I mean,
Middleton was 10 for 24 for 33. Giannis 14 for 27, 38 and 20. Oh, man. Really filled up the box score. I've been telling y'all, man. I've been telling y'all. You just can't put your faith in somebody who can't shoot. The name of the game in basketball is shooting. At some point, you have to be able to put the ball in the bucket from outside of the paint. And if you cannot do that, you cannot be the guy. Understand that Shaq could not win championships without Kobe and D Wade. Guys who could score away from the basket. Guys who could make free throws. You can't tell me Giannis is the most dominant player since Shaq. You can't tell me Giannis is the best player in the league and he's getting sent home in the first round by an 8 seed.
What's crazy is that they have 3 all-defensive players on this team.
And Jimmy said, y'all niggas don't play defense. I get buckets.
They've all these games have been high scoring. They've all went over. Like, I'm pretty sure every single last one of these games has hit the over. Wow.
That's a terrible shot, Malik Monk. Why does everyone think they got to shoot the 3 to tie the game up?
Wow.
Hey, man.
Hey, somebody commented on Sideline Sources, and they have Grayson Allen's name, and then there's something translated in Chinese, and it says "Welcome to Guangdong," but but it's in Chinese, so you have to click the C translation, and that's what it says.
Well, looks like the Warriors are going up 3-2. They're playing smart basketball. They're up 5, and they're just dribbling out the clock.
They're going to close
That's
out.
just doubled. And he's got an and 1. I wish they would have called the double on Steph, though.
Oh, yeah, he sure as hell did. And 1, yeah.
Get Iggy out of my screen. Why is he on the roster? Oh, yeah, let me see the replay. Yeah, him running.
He's a 4-time champion, too. And he gets to get a ring if they can win again.
Steph cuffed the ball.
Hey, assuming that LeBron does what LeBron has done.
Oh, yeah, we get Steph LeBron. LeBron's real rival, Steph.
Going to be the most entertaining
second round
2 series. Because here's the weird part. The Miami-New York series is going to be good for big market because it's Miami and New York. And they're like bruiser-ass teams. But Miami's going to be favored. Gosh, but you know how crazy Madison Square Garden is going to be for game 1?
You know how bad of a basketball product is going to be on TV?
Are you saying we're going under?
I would. I'm going down.
You know who is licking their chops more than anyone?
The Sixers?
Yeah, they should be. Because even if the Hawks get beat tomorrow, they got all that rest. They know Philly has not beaten Boston like recently at all in the playoffs. Maybe the last time they did was when I think AI and them, the year they went, they did play Boston that year.
No, I think it was 80. I think I heard on the podcast it was 82.
Really? Well, maybe they just didn't play them in 01. But I don't know why I feel like they would have ran into each other.
When Philly won the championship, that was the last.
What it is Milwaukee probably, because Boston was probably like a 3 in 01, and they probably played Milwaukee in the second round, and Ray Allen beat them. And then obviously Philly played Milwaukee in the East Finals that year. But it's now or never for Philly. This put way more pressure on them. Without us even knowing what's going to happen in the Hawk series, Milwaukee going down puts so much pressure on them.
I'm gonna pour one out for Giannis and the Bucks. And by pour one out, I'm gonna pour one out of my bottle into my glass.
Hey, can you get it on screen? No, we need it on screen. Come on.
Hey, let's pour one out for Giannis and the Bucks.
The homies.
Because they bucked up.
I'll join you. I got a little bit more whiskey I'll take in tonight.
Got a little blow up coming. Not a blow up doll either.
Drew's gonna be there though. Middleton's the one that's gonna be gone because he was hurt. He's the one that's gonna be gone.
Hey man, I'm drinking this Basil Hayden Dark Rye. Not an ad. Some of the smoothest whiskey I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
The guy at the liquor store recommended it to me, and I was like, sure, man, I'll try it. Oh, golly. Well, Golden State in 6. Maybe, yep, Golden State in 6. Close it out at home.
I like the fight that Sacramento brought, man, regardless.
No, same.
Future's bright there. I think, obviously, everybody always says add another piece. They could afford, put it this way, in a weird way, a team like them, nothing wrong with Harrison Barnes, but let go of Harrison Barnes somehow, and if you can get Chris Middleton to be the guy that you add, I like that. I like the idea of something like that on this type of team, and then add one rim protector.
Yeah. Yeah.
They need a rim protector. They don't need like a rim protector.
Yeah, they need somebody they can put behind Sabonis.
In a weird way, I don't know if Looney is like a free agent, but like somebody like him, maybe. I don't know. Or who knows? Look, it's too early to speculate about NBA all season. We got NFL all season that is still going on, so we can't really speculate about NBA yet because we don't even know what's going to happen.
Eric Boyd wants to know, how does Bud keep his job?
He won a title 2 years ago. That's
Doug Peterson lost his job.
But look, somebody too in our one of these other groups just said Budenholzer had 2 timeouts, watched Grayson Allen dribble the clock out, which is what I said. I literally just said that. I was like, they had a timeout, didn't they? I was like, I would have called at least a timeout. Like, I don't know if Bud just should get fired.
I don't know. I don't think the answer is fire Bud, but I think the answer is something's got to give. Fan base deserves better. You got the quote unquote best player in the league, and you got 33. You got 30 out of him, 30 out of Middleton. What did Drew put up? You have one of those bad Drew games again?
Let me see if he would have hit my. It didn't matter. I'd already lost, but hold on. Let me just see.
Let's look at Drew's box score. Yeah, he was 4 for 11 with 16. Now, you would have hit your bet, points and rebounds?
22 and a half.
Yeah, you got 25. 16 points, 9 boards. Let's see. Julian Turner, 4.5 Jimmy assists. I wouldn't have bet that today. He's going for the jugular. Giannis is eliminated, man. I'm sorry. This is just really just taking over me.
You love it. And
you know what? I'm an America guy. Okay, I am pro America. I root for our American superstars, and this is the American Basketball League, and I want American players to be the best players in our American Basketball League. And when an American player goes against a European player and beats them and just keeps America on top because we're not on top in as many things as we once were, got to take these victories here. This is a pro-America podcast. So, you know what? Jimmy Butler, America. No one's going to Europe. We don't send our top talent to Europe to play basketball.
Yeah, but that doesn't take away from him coming here to play. I don't
have an issue with him
I
coming
don't know
here.
what to say because this was like low key. You could really argue maybe the strongest Bucks team.
No.
Would you argue that?
No.
I know they won the final, but Bobby Portis had probably his best season as a Buck. Brook Lopez and Drew Holiday had their best season as a Buck. Giannis put up MVP numbers.
Chris Middleton.
Chris Middleton was the only person that just wasn't who he was. But that has nothing to do with low-key them losing in 5. So
no, it's not. But Chris Middleton was their bucket getter in their championship season. When they needed a bucket, they gave the ball to Chris Middleton.
Because he's more of that player. He can.
Yeah. I mean,
he's more three level.
Yeah. Giannis hit them a bucket.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. It's not. I mean, it's unfortunate to see that happen because you want to see the best players and the best teams play. You want to see your top seeds go. But what does this say for the NBA regular season? We see an 8 seed who again, you talked about it earlier, barely got it out to play-in. Now knocking off a 1.
Got embarrassed by the Hawks. Like the Hawks controlled that game from start to finish, like shit.
You got the Lakers a 7 seed up 3-2. You got the Warriors a 6 seed up 3.
Are we surprised?
No, we're not. But what does it say about the regular season and seeding? Like we complain about the NBA regular season already not mattering, and now the playoffs are becoming truth of the regular season not mattering so much. I mean, shit, we got the 7 seed Hawks battling with the fucking 2 seed Celtics. It's a 3-2 series coming back to Atlanta. So I don't know, man. I honestly don't know. Let's try to knock out a little bit of culture before we get out of here. Because shit, we're at 2.5 hours.
Yeah, we get kind of go. But you know what? We also got live. I've never done one of those YouTube. You know how like sometimes there's like people that do like the YouTube live reaction type shit to a game. We kind of just had that moment here.
Yeah, we had a live reaction to like a game that mattered. Like not our Thursday night football live reactions.
Yeah, this was, and it was a shocker. Like how it from Jimmy Butler getting his kind of alley-oop, I guess, like one-handed fadeaway floater type shot.
Jazz Mataz, I don't know how the hell you did that shot. So man, that was great way to close out our basketball conversation. Wouldn't you say, Parlay Pete?
Yes, for sure. Like no doubt about it.
All right, well. Hey guys, hour 3, little culture hour. Oh man, I don't have the drop ready. Forgive me. Hold on, let me find it. We've texted too much. Here we go. That's not right.
Well, that's a jam though.
It didn't play through the Bluetooth though, did it?
No, it didn't. It sounded like you were playing it from your kitchen.
Yeah, it was coming out of the phone.
Look what I done for you. I said I do this for my culture, to let y'all know what a nigga look like in a bulletproof Rover.
Said we do it for the culture. You know what? Culture hour is going to start a little bit different because we're going to talk a little.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
You know, some news that really shook the media world. 2 of the biggest talking heads in political news got fired on Monday. You got Tucker Carlson getting fired at Fox. Statement coming out that Tucker recorded his last show on Friday. They made the decision on Friday and then let him know on Monday that he was fired. No show, no sign off. And then Don Lemon of CNN getting fired and then putting out a tweet saying that he would have, after 17 years of service, would have liked to have been at least called in, but he found out from his agent that he would no longer be working for CNN. Honestly, both firings, the writing was on the wall for him. I don't know if there's a specific one you want to talk about first, but it was inevitable to happen.
Yeah, I think certainly with the lawsuit and kind of what happened there, and basically him spewing out things that he doesn't believe even. But I feel like that's media in general. I don't think that media is about being correct or having integrity. Like, has that ever been the case with media? So he's not the only one, I guess. And I get it. It's because he's a villain in the world of it, because of the world that we live in. But even as somebody, I'm not conservative necessarily, but even I have to imagine that conservative America doesn't like the idea of false reporting, even if a narrative is wanted to get pushed. But there are delusional people on both sides. I hate to be like Donald Trump, right? When Trump was like, there's good people on both sides, but like there are delusional people on both sides. Like there's delusional people in the left hand, like.
So the thing is, those delusional people are, I believe, are starting to make up a larger population of the voices that matter, right? What informed individual is tuning in to Tucker Carlson for information, to learn about a current event? You might go listen to get an idea of what's popping over there at Fox News, what that crowd is listening to, but you're not going there to become you're not asking Tucker Carlson to make you a smarter person about some information. Like, you don't go to him for clarity, for you to grow,
He's a meme at this and a gif at this point when he does like that. That shit's hilarious though. But we need people like Tucker Carlson, low key.
Yes, but here's where Tucker Carlson hurt himself. He has the text messages. So you lose some, even though we can believe that he doesn't believe what he's saying, we have no evidence of it.
Right.
Now we have evidence. And then the relationships that have been protected by his position, well, those relationships don't exist anymore in the same way because they've now seen how he truly feels, And then you follow that up with the damn near $1 billion that the company has to shell out because of some of the stuff that he was doing. And in other text messages, you have information that comes out about him thinking he's bigger than the network, not agreeing with the executives and what they want to do. It's like, oh, so you think you're bigger than us? Hey, dog, we made you. Before 2016, you were doing weekends. We brought you to prime time and built you up. Like, don't forget who this is. This is Fox News now. We can make you and we can break you. And then something that hasn't gotten as much attention, toxic masculinity behind the scenes, having locker room talk amongst too many people. And look here, I'm not going to be a moralist and say locker room talk doesn't exist in the workplace. They talked about him comparing two gubernatorial candidates from Michigan about which one you'd rather have sex with. It's like, hey, guys have those types of conversations. I'm going to be real with you. Like, it's like, who would you rather bone, her or her? Right? That's a staple male conversation.
But that's not work. Like,
no. It's not work. It's not workplace. It's not workplace behavior. It should not be workplace behavior. Allegedly, there's a poster of like Nancy Pelosi on the wall, like in a bathing suit. And if you know about Nancy's knockers, you understand why that would be there. Like, come on, dude, you're at work. And then he's been on this like they're trying to get rid of testosterone and all this shit. Like he's got some wild stuff that he's been doing. And then with the issues that Fox had with Roger Ailes with the toxic masculine work environment.
Mm-hmm.
And you talking shit about us? Yeah, Tuck, get the fuck. I think it was the easy firing.
Right.
his clip today from the Full Send podcast. What did you think about that?
I did not see that.
Okay, let me play it for you real quick.
I've spent my whole life in the media. My dad was in the media. Like, that is a big part of the revelation that's changed my life, is the media are part of the control apparatus. Like, there's no, yeah, I know. Cause you're younger and smarter and you're like, yeah. But what if you're me and you spent your whole life in that world, and to look around and all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow. Not only are they part of the problem, but I spent most of my life being part of the problem, defending the Iraq war. Like, I actually did that. Can you imagine if you did that?
Well, what do you think? What is one of your biggest regrets in your career?
Oh, defending the Iraq war.
That is it?
Well, I've had a million regrets, not being more skeptical, calling people names when I should have listened to what they were saying. Look, when someone makes a claim, there's only one question that's important at the very beginning, which is the claim true or not? So I say, you committed murder.
All right, so that kind of sums it up. Believe me when I'm a part of big media, but now that I'm not a part of big media, don't believe big media.
Yes, but and I'll go back to the Jay-Z line. And I love bringing Hove into conversations.
Hove did.
He said in a song, "Believe none of what you hear and half of what you see, even if spat by me."
So he caps on his rap.
Well, no. I don't even take away that from it. I just took away more from a perspective of, even if I say it, you probably shouldn't believe it, because how would you know? Type shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, believe none of what you hear and half of what you see, even if spat by me.
Here's what I like.
Think about it. When you're talking about something, I'm not saying that like you don't know what you're talking about, right? But like, have you been in situations where you've had conversations and you might even go on and you might have surface level knowledge of something, but we'll have a conversation with somebody that wants to make this like the main conversation, but you're able to keep up the conversation and talk about it. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that you're supported by facts or anything, but whether you're just spitballing or the little bit that you do know or what you've heard somebody else say. I think that's like kind of like that type of situation, if that makes any sense. Like, now, granted, he works for a news network, so his is just a little different, but like rappers, in Jay-Z's case, is a street reporter. That's a very common thing that they've said. I talk about what my surroundings were like, what went on. I'm a hood report, like stuff like that little shit. But like, and that doesn't excuse Tucker Carlson. I'm just simply saying it doesn't surprise me that he's in the same boat as many people when it comes to that. Like, because nobody is all knowing. None of us are omnipotent.
Well, not even that none of us are all knowing. You got to understand that most major industries are controlled by a few entities.
That too. I mean, there's like 4 things that run the media.
And if you think about
four.
Purpose of the media, it is to push an agenda to the people. Well, it's supposed to inform people. That's what the media is supposed to do, inform us, especially news media, inform us.
Right.
Educate us. But when you throw ad dollars into that, it's no longer about information.
Hey, keep talking. I just need to do something very quickly. Keep talking though. I can hear you.
It's no longer about informing. It's about what do the people want to hear, what sells. And Tucker Carlson falls into that same media trap. And I'm not saying he's a victim. I'm not trying to excuse him, because at the end of the day, we all have a price. And if the dollar figure is right, we'll do the deed. People want power. Tucker Carlson had a lot of power. He had a large amount of control over the base of the right wing, which then gave him influence with high-ranking politicians, whether it's presidents, whether it's governors, whether it's senators, whether it's congressmen, congresswomen. You know what I mean? Like he had a high level of influence over this country. Nobody wants to give up that power. But when you start presenting information to appeal to the consumer and not inform the consumer, you just slowly whittle away at your soul. And then you just become a soulless face, giving information to spew and make it interesting when you spew it. And when you get a soul back, or something happens that the power that B don't like, they spit you back out. And you come out of that experience like, oh dang, I thought what I was doing mattered. I thought I mattered here. Nah, dog, you're a pawn. If you don't own the platform, you are a pawn. When you look at for in black media, the Joe Budden versus the Charlemagne talk, the Joe Budden versus the Gillian Wallow talk. You know, when you start looking at some of these conversations, it's especially with the Charlemagne, it's, hey, dog, you work for iHeart. You only get to work for iHeart so that you do the stuff that iHeart wants you to do. But the second iHeart is done with you, you got to go elsewhere to figure out how to make it. And not to say that you can't make it. But if you don't have a core fan base and you've just been propped up by the network, then when you no longer have that prop of the network, you got to go thug it. Whereas Joe Budden can't get fired by the Joe Budden network because he owns the network. And his fans, his supporters have come from whatever he's done to generate that fan support. But does Charlemagne bring people to iHeart? Absolutely. But does iHeart have a fan base that they bring to Charlemagne? You're fucking right. And guess what, Tucker Carlson? You Fox was done with you.
He's got a following too.
Well, you know, he definitely is. He definitely does. So it's now interesting to see what the next move is. You know, he and Don Lemon got the same lawyer.
Wouldn't it be crazy if they just did a show?
Somebody was saying, like, imagine just putting them two on a somewhat of a debate show. It would do numbers.
It would do it, but then it would be a sign of bipartisanship in general, and say that, hey, we don't feel the same, but in reality, we want what's best too. And it's okay if we don't agree, because we're not going to disagree on literally everything. Like, I don't know anyone that disagrees on everything, just like I don't know anyone that agrees with everyone on everything. So it's like one of those things where it doesn't. And then the fact that they're black and white, that helps as well. That adds another layer to like something like that. It would honestly be a great move.
They could unite.
It really would be.
They could, on the right platform, those two could unite the country doing
they could literally call their show Real News. Like, they could call it that, because CNN's fake news and Fox is Fox. So it's like, you know, I'm just saying, I'm just Donald Trump coin I see. He's like fake news. Like,
did you see the straw that broke the camel's back for Don Lemon?
I did. I thought it was ridiculous just because he was absolutely right in a sense of, I don't like how history wants to make it seem like slavery ended then when it didn't. And that's the truth. Like, the truth is that, okay, now you're free with what money, what housing, what? Oh, now I have to work. What am I working for? Oh, fucking nothing. Gotcha. Oh, are there going to be people that are coming by checking to make sure that this isn't basically slavery still and you just are compensating us? Oh, okay. It was still slavery, so it didn't matter.
Hey, Parlay Pete, I went to Vietnam. I want to use my GI Bill to buy a house. No. What? Hey, here's my credit score. Here's my cash. I want to go buy this house. Sorry, sir. We can't extend you a line of credit. Why not? Well, we don't trust that you can you'll be able to pay this back. What in my credit record says that?
Well, you haven't had credit long enough to begin with. I
mean, right. And here's the problem. And here's where I have my issues with the over grouping of minorities in every single situation. I don't fuck with the people of color shit.
Have you ever addressed
that
in any type of conversation with somebody?
No. You know why? I call black people and niggas. I call white people. I call Latin Americans. And really, I try to peel back the onion and figure out what type of Latin American you are. So if you're a Mexican, I call you a Mexican. If you're like my wife and you're a Salvadorian, I call you a Salvadorian. If you're a Cuban, I'm gonna call you a Cuban.
If you're from Spain, you're a Spaniard.
You're a you're a Spaniard. I'm gonna say
because you can be from Argentina or Spain. And
they Spanish.
Two places I've been and literally looked at them. I'm like, you look white. You got blue eyes and blonde hair. You look like a white person. Like, you could easily come to America. As long as your accent is like together, they're gonna think that you're probably a white man. Like, if you walk around.
Or even like the diversity within black people. Like, Dominicans and Haitians, same island, don't fuck with each other.
And you couldn't tell one from another.
No, unless you know them and you listen to them talk. Haitian, French, Dominican, Spanish, right? Different languages. But dog, they look the same. Same island, don't rock with each other. And you want me to group all these people in here together? No. The guy that Don Lemon was talking to, this Indian who's running for president, you're not gonna win. Hey, bro, you can't tell me my black experience, especially as another minority who has not been in a position of power. You can't talk to me about my black experience. Now, I'll listen to a powerful white person talk to me about my minority experience. If you had some influence on oppressing me, you can tell me what was going on in my situation, because you may have played a part, like you played a part in making my situation what it was. I'm not a believer in the winner gets to tell the story of history. I think everyone involved gets to tell the story. But how the hell can you sit in front of a black man and tell him, no, this is what improves stuff for black people? How can you sit here and say that the situation for black people haven't improved since this? It's like, because I wake up every day and I walk through life. I look around this building that I work in. I got moved from a top spot at this network, and now you got me doing mornings. Then I told a woman she was past her prime, maybe inappropriate to say, on morning TV. Was it true? Yeah, it was. Guess what? Most Americans don't want to follow behind a woman. That's not me. That's just this country. It's just look at the record, especially an older woman. Women have been taught to be beautiful and adored as items to see. Now we're breaking down those walls, we're breaking down those stereotypes, but just like with racism, if you try to break down those walls, they still exist. You don't just come in there and just knock the wall down at the bottom and the whole thing collapse. You're knocking it down from the top. So you're just taking it down piece by piece by piece, by block by block by block. It takes a while. And sometimes some people just got to die. So being honest about something that may be uncomfortable and then you getting put in hot water for that, I can't get with that. I can't get behind that, because now we're no longer speaking truth. We're just back to what Tucker Carlson was doing. We're letting the people that we're informing inform us on what we should tell them. And hey, Parlay Pete, if I was brought in to do an analysis of your business, you were brought in to do an analysis on my site, right? And how we in our business procedures. But I tell you what you get to inspect, or you tell me what I get to inspect. Are we gonna walk away with a product that's gonna make our organizations better?
I think so. I mean, because it's a different lens and it's a
No, no.
totally
If you are telling me what you want me to inspect, right? We're putting pride into this, right? I get to peel the hood back on anything, and you on three different
levels.
three levels, right? And you give me your best three.
Best three what?
You say you just give me your best three departments, and that's what I go inspect. And I go, shit, killing it. But if I get to go in and pick what I go through or go through everything, and you have no say of what I look at, 9 times out of 10 you walk out with something better because you don't get to hide what you don't want people to see.
Well, that and then constructive criticism, right? I mean, it's a real thing, of course. And ultimately, when you look at certainly with the example that you used and just based on kind of correlating that with that, there's so many different ways that we can better ourselves. And the first thing is being able to listen to other people. It doesn't mean that those other people are necessarily right, but like at the same time, you're also not doing everything right either. So, and like, you should know that, like, because we're not perfect. Like, none of us are perfect. And so like, that's like kind of what makes it a conversation that should be had and that should be done, and why we should be able to get to that point of bringing together something like a Tucker Carlson and a Don Lemon that would make it really nice. Like, it would, I think that it would do, obviously would do numbers. We know that, like, from a money standpoint, they'd make the money if that's what this is about, which typically that's what it's about. It's about making some money. But even if it's not about making money, but it is just about having something that creates buzz to the extent, and then you get different types of guests from both sides and both angles, that you might even get a situation where there's somebody that's like, fuck you, like Tucker Carlson type shit, or a right wing that's just like, you commie Don Lemon, like something like that, right? We didn't even realize how good it could be to have a Gucci Man and Jeezy. Now, I don't want to compare it to rap, but the fact that they can meet up in Magic City after all these years, and then they, even with what was said while they were there, they still performed a song that none of us have ever seen them perform together.
And they've been on the same
tour. All know kind of was like the song that started both careers, with Coach K, of course, being like the middleman between the two. Zaytoven, like these people that have worked with both guys. I know Zaytoven more Gucci, but like these people that work with both of these dudes, and what type of like energy it brought. Now they've gone on tour before. Like, you know what I mean? And granted, they don't perform that song together or nothing. It ain't like they're not cool, but now there's a respect. There's a this was for the culture. Like, it was a culture type thing. And I think that if we could get more bipartisanship, because that's, even to me as a person, that's kind of how I feel. You know, that's kind of my stance on a lot of this stuff, is that it's a more bipartisan than it is I'm conservative, or, well, I feel liberal about this, that, and the third. Like, it's not like that. And I think that we just need more of that in the world.
We just need more people who disagree to sit down and have a conversation instead of back to Gen Z. And I think millennials are guilty of some of this too. Anything that disrupts your peace isn't good for you. Yes, it is. You need disruptions to grow. If everything's always comfortable, you'll just be that comfortable, stagnant. You don't grow. Like, you know, I've talked about this many times. The pearl, you know, it's sand in a clam's mouth, and the clam just is irritated, and it's just working it, and it comes out to be this beautiful jewel that we give to women, or with the AKAs right around their neck, right? When they become,
yeah,
all that, right? No disrespect. But point being is, it takes work to get somewhere. It takes, you know what I mean? Like you can't you smelt metal down. It takes heat and pressure so that you can break down this metal and to turn it into what you want it to. So same
Yeah.
thing with human society, man. We gotta have some pressure. We gotta go through some stuff. It's okay.
Absolutely. I have a special guest that just showed up, and I hinted maybe at him potentially being here. I wasn't sure what his schedule was like. I'm gonna give him a little second, but I do have a special guest here as we're getting closer to closing out the show. But no, I like I said, I'll piggyback kind of off what you just said. Just in general, it's more of what we need in this world.
I'm over here shook. Like, I'm sure it's someone I know.
Yeah, for sure. But
It's 1 a.m. You just up to your house. I'm happy that the social media libs didn't go too crazy with the Louisville cop from the Breonna Taylor thing, from the Breonna Taylor incident, being back on the force. I'm really happy that story didn't take off with some fake outrage of people who didn't really read what happened and understand why this cop should be working because he returned fire.
But you realize this too. We live in such a microwave society where everything is more of this now. We need this, that, like, this is the way that this needs to be. Like, there needs to be direct, like, as if there's no such thing as due process or anything anymore, right? Like, and more importantly, when it comes to articles like that, when you actually do find out the findings, we don't read. Like, most people, like, we're thinking about it, even with the AI thing now, right? Like, with AI, we can tell Chat GPT, hey, can you summarize this? Like, can you give me a Spark Notes kind of version of everything, but just like with all the key points only?
Yeah.
What are the nuggets that people are outraged about? Like, and it just breaks it down because we're microwave. We want it now, but like, we don't want to sift through everything and figure out everything. That's for the laws. Yeah, to quote Young Thug, he said this once when they asked him about Michael Brown at the BET Awards. He was like, they asked him, like, you know, like how he felt about it. He's like, I leave that up to all the laws and all that other shit. He said, we iced out and getting money. He said, basically, I swear to God, I can bring up the YouTube.
Yeah, bro. And that's who I'm supposed to be freeing.
The nigga that now is having to deal with all the laws and all that other shit. He's having to deal with that shit now. And so, now granted, he didn't get killed, but they're saying he's linked to people that got killed. And so now it's up to the laws and all that other shit, as opposed to, I didn't do shit. I'm rich as fuck. Like, you guys have no proof that I have killed anyone. And because I didn't kill anyone, I shouldn't go to jail. Whether that person's associated with me or not, I didn't do it. And you can't prove that I told them to do it either. Like,
yeah, man, it's just crazy what the lack of reading in our society does. Because I remember after reading about the Breonna Taylor story, and I go, I don't rock with no-knock warrants. I just don't think that should be a thing. Like, who cares how much of a criminal this person is? I'm not gonna say who you are, because you're putting people in danger when you just show up. Maybe if it's the wrong house, got it. Go the detective who got the warrant, took it to the judge who signed off on that warrant. Be mad at them. But the second they kicked in that door and boyfriend start shooting, I'm busting back.
well, and naturally, and that should be everybody's response to this. Nobody is saying, no, I'm gonna wait and like try and get them to cease fire. No, shots are being fired at me, so I have to shoot back.
So I can't be
whether
mad
I'm in the wrong or not. Now that I'm being shot at, I have no choice but to not only protect myself, but I'm actually within the law and doing it too, because I'm here on my job. I'm not an intruder. You know what I mean? So
I
had a warrant to come in here.
I am legally executing a warrant. Well, if the story behind the warrant, yeah, I get that. Those are two separate conversations. They said, hey, Roberts, you're up. Bet. Where we going? What we doing?
We got a warrant at 2305 McLean Street. It's house number 52. It's this, that, and the third. Go in there, serve it, and then come home and we'll regroup and we'll talk about what happened.
Suspected drug dealer, armed and dangerous. We're going to no-knock it. See, no-knock warrant. Cool. Pew, pew, pew. Oh, shit. And again, it's unfortunate that you have the loss of life there, and hopefully we get rid of no-knock warrants. I mean, hopefully it's just overall criminal justice reform. Like the idea that if somebody is running away from you, that you can shoot at them is crazy to me. Like, okay, he's running. He's no longer a threat, or she's no longer a threat. Oh, they're driving off. Well, let's start a high-speed chase. You know, a lot of cities are getting rid of the high-speed chases because it's like, well, what's the collateral damage of chasing somebody who's trying to avoid a traffic stop? Like, put out a warrant for their arrest.
Yeah.
Let the system work itself out long term.
It does. It does. And so
is this special guest ready?
He's smoking.
It's JP?
It is not.
Matty Matt?
You'll see. But nonetheless, we got one more topic I know to hit. We didn't really talk about the fight, and that kind of falls under this.
Yeah, we talk about the fight.
You know, it's sports, but it falls under it. And even if you want to close with that, and then I'm gonna assume he'll be done by then. But like, man, what a fix, I guess, is what I'm gonna throw in. Some people are gonna say it's not, and look, it has nothing to do with the way I bet on it. I promise. Like, I didn't even take Ryan Garcia. I just took the dude would go the distance, and it was just more of along the lines of.
Why would you do that in a Tank fight, though? His fights never go the distance. He gets a knockout.
He's gone the distance before. He's gone the distance.
Rarely.
So, yeah. Literally, hold on.
Maybe.
Look, he doesn't have. Go.
I'm saying, like, his last fight, he was losing and had to go get a knockout. If I remember correctly.
Hold on. I'm about to pull it up. Isaac Cruz, he just fought him December 5th, 2021. That was a unanimous decision, but it went the distance. He did TKO somebody in the 12th round. Like I said, he's went the distance. It went the distance. He's gone the distance before, and this was supposed to be the best fighter that he had fought. And so my expectation was that it was going to go to the distance. He's at 2 by decision, but that one was the most recent. Let me see. Probably earlier in his career, he had a UD. Yeah, his 9th matchup also went unanimous decision, but that one was relatively recent. I mean, that was, let's see, that was 2 fights ago when that happened. And so my thought was Ryan Garcia is supposed to be the best fighter that he's fought. And I don't know. I thought that it could have went the distance. Like my expectation wasn't that. And these fights typically do that. Think about Floyd and Conor, and maybe Floyd was fucking with him.
Well, Floyd
that still went 10. That shit even went 10. So these fights, they typically all the Triple G and Canelo fights have all gone the distance. They all went the distance.
But their styles are so much different. Like Tank is looking for a knockout.
Yeah, I know. But then their thought was, well, Tank's not going to get knocked out either. So if he's looking for a knockout and he's swinging, he's going to get tired. And then this thing is going to turn into who's going to last the longest and box the best. I don't know. A lot of Floyd fights go the distance in reality.
Yeah, Floyd ain't a knockout artist. He stopped being a knockout artist. He became Pretty Boy Floyd.
That's what I'm saying. He was right. He didn't get touched, and I know that that's not Davis's style, but I don't know. It's still just it's pretty disturbing to watch. Because Fuck DAZN, by the way. I bought the fight twice, didn't get it. I need to get my refund.
That fight was on the zone? I canceled my subscription with them. I'm done.
Well, that was the only way. And we ended up, you know what sucks? We ended up watching on streamings.
You know what? Guys in our group, they send stuff from streaming sites. Not a big fan of streaming live events or illegally streaming live events.
It worked out. I mean, there wasn't an issue, put it that way. I had no issues with it, and that's what made it so bad, because it was like, hold on. I've got this on this illegal site and it looks crystal clear, but I bought it from this site that's supposed to be having it, and they don't have the bandwidth to fucking like do this. Like,
so Netflix when they did the Love Is Blind season finale or reunion.
Essentially. And so it was pretty disturbing. Man, Giannis had 38 and 20 tonight, by the way, and Middleton had 33.
And Drew Holiday, what a disappointment.
Nah, he still got his over. So like. I don't know. Look, they all played. Brook Lopez had 18 and 10, so that's about on par. If those guys are doing that, that's on par with what he could have did. Man, was this just a classic case of Miami is better? Is my question. But
yeah, it won in 5.
Or just is this team literally their kryptonite?
I mean, you probably have to ask. What's that guy's name? Big boy?
Big boy. Kendrick Perkins?
I be on it all night, man. I be on it all day. Straight up pimp. If you want me, you can find me in the air. On it.
Time and time again, I gotta. Whatever you say. Great warm-up song for middle school.
Oh, for sure. Always got the crowd ready. Yeah, I mean, it's still a great song today. I mean, even if you're just in the car and you're headed out and it kind of randomly comes on.
Yeah. Still our guest, and I'm over here prepping my cigar because
Well, and I tell you what, only because I have no idea how long he might be up there, but we can close out, and if you want, you can stay on. You can see who it is, and I'll bring the computer up stairs.
Yeah, let's close out and do that. At some point, I got to get in the bed.
Let's do it.
All right, man. Anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here, Parlay P? I think that close out Culture Hour.
We're closed.
All right, bet. Hope y'all enjoy. We'll have this up sometime soon.